Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
You know, we all got our doubts about the last election. And I want to assure you, I share the concerns of millions of Americans about voting irregularities. And I promise you, come this Wednesday, we'll have our day in Congress. We'll hear the objections. We'll hear the evidence. But tomorrow is Georgia's day.
So Mike Pence speaking right now from Milner, Georgia. What's going on in Georgia this week? Why is everybody paying so much attention to it? Okay, so I was thinking, like, man, I wonder if I could still do this radio show thing. It's been a while. It's got to be like riding a bike, except for, like, it's a motorcycle now and we're going to Sturgis. So I feel a little bit like, okay, hold on tight. Katie, what hour of the night in the last 24 hours, what was I not sending you things?
Oh, man. We were off to the races last night.
I felt guilty. I was like, vacation is still now. It's still Sunday night. We come back to work the next day and I'm sending her things and I'm thinking she should ignore it because I try to leave Katie alone because the biggest vacation that Katie can have is from my communications problem.
Oh, that's not true. I was actually ready for it. It was abnormal. Did you like
hunker down, brace yourself?
It was abnormal for you and I to not be in constant communications for the last week and a half. And that is a true sign that you actually took one breath and stepped away.
And you're still here. You came back.
We're doing it together.
Thank you. Ryan's here too. Hi, Ryan. How was your break?
Oh,
Ryan's speechless.
Are you there, Ryan?
Well done. Sturgis.
And here we go. We were so close.
Are you there?
So far. I guess
no,
this is something we're going to check.
So speaking of technical difficulties, if you remember my last day on air, I spilt my drink. I got coffee and I spilt it all over. I have redone a lot of what I see in my studio, but not necessarily what you see. I want to encourage you to go check us out on our Facebook Live, on our Annie Frey YouTube channel live, and watch us. I got a stand-up desk so I can stand up to do the show. Now I'm excited to do that and to broadcast from the same studio that I've been broadcasting from, but it's been wild. It's been crazy. I want to talk about Trump tapes. Trump tapes first and foremost, because this Trump, if you haven't heard about that, I imagine it's hard to not have heard about the Trump tapes at this point. But if you are like me and you've been on break for some time, then you might have done yourself a favor and not known about the Trump tapes because you were minding your own business and probably basking in the glory of being able to do that. Well, the Trump tapes, basically, he had a phone call with the Georgia Secretary of State, Raffensperger, which is quite a name, I might add. And it was leaked. It was leaked, I guess, mostly yesterday was when it first came out. And it's interesting to me because when you listen to what got leaked out, and I was watching Fox News last night, I think it was probably, I don't know if it was midnight. It might have been past. It might have been, I don't know if it was 1 o'clock, but they were doing a replay of Brett Baer and of Martha McCallum. And I had already at that point listened to the entire hour of the conversation between Donald Trump, his people, his legal experts, his campaign people. I think Meadows was on there, and the conversation and the side that had the Georgia Secretary of State on there. The first thing that I listened to was the entirety of the phone call, because I saw a bunch of people reacting, as is incredibly predictable for them to do. If you love Trump, then you're saying this wasn't actually that bad. I actually think that this was not as harmful as anybody's saying. In fact, in some capacity, it makes the president look good. And if you hate Donald Trump, then you're saying bombshell, impeachable. They better hurry. That Donald Trump once again shows the type of person who he is, and this is why he's so dangerous. And they start using all these really horribly inflammatory accusations about like the soul of Donald Trump and how it's espousing itself and pouring itself out and poisoning the entire country. It's like, you know, the standard issue Donald Trump reporting, please. This is what people were hearing out the gate about this conversation with the Georgia Secretary of State and Donald Trump.
You just want to have an accurate election. And you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have, not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes. You know what they did and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense. And you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard, and they are removing machinery, and they're moving it as fast as they can, both of which are criminal fines, and you can't let it happen, and you are letting it happen. I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this.
So there's Donald Trump saying all we need to do is find 11,000 blah 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 votes. Trump saying this is all that needs to be done. You just need to find me these votes in your state. Do your job. That's what was reported in the mainstream media. So of course that sounds terrible. Obviously that sounds terrible. When you hear that, you go, that's the Donald Trump that they've been saying he was the whole time in the background on these phone calls that you're not supposed to hear about. He's doing dirty deeds behind the scenes and twisting people's arms, strong-arming people to just get him what he wants. Forget about anything that has to do with what the voters actually cast their ballots for. Donald Trump just says, get me my votes and do your job, and accuses people of not doing their job in the event that he doesn't get what he wants. I hear that and I go, wow, that's terrible. I can't defend that. Oh, but wait, I listened to the whole hour tape first. I didn't rely on this agenda-driven mainstream media who has every single step, every inch of this man's candidacy and presidency, taken what they can, cherry-picked what they could, and provided it to you in hopes that that would be as far as you ever got into the information. When you listen to the entirety of the tape, when you listen to the entirety of the phone call, which I really encourage you to do, and Katie, if it's possible, I would like to put up at 971talk.com/Annie sometime during the show, a place where people can go if they don't Twitter, if they don't internet very well. Maybe you got some new smart gadgets this year and you're like, this is really pretty, but I don't know what to do with it. You need your kids and grandkids to come help you. We'll make it super simple for you. We'll share it on our social medias where you can go and you can listen to the whole tape. I am going to take the next segment here. It's about a 13-minute clip, right, Katie? I think it's a sizable
12 to
clip.
13 minutes.
12 to 13 minutes. And I'm going to play you how President Trump opens this phone call, because this is the context that you need. When I was listening to this and he was laying out the things that he wants people to pay attention to, the things that he wants Georgia to look into, the discrepancies that he has between their information from the Trump campaign and the information that has been provided by the Georgia Secretary of State. There is an obvious discrepancy here. Folks, there's only one thing that I can promise you that is true, and that is that we have two sets of facts and they cannot be simultaneously accurate. Something is real, something is not. Throughout the duration of this call, Donald Trump clearly lays out a long list of things that he has huge concerns about. And when I'm listening to what Donald Trump is saying he's concerned about, I'm concerned about them too. And this is how I know, at least in my mind, that I'm being fair about this. When I listen to what the president is saying, if I were somebody who was on my knees every night praying that at the end of January, we are inaugurating President Joe Biden, and I'm listening to what Donald Trump was listing there, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little bit nervous. Kamala Harris was sworn in during this Senate. She hasn't fully conceded her seat yet, from what I understand. There are people who are looking at what's out there. Everybody can see that there are discrepancies. But if we can't prove it, if you can't prove it in court, or if you don't have the votes in the House and the Senate to fully successfully contest this election, it won't matter. Joe Biden will still be the president. And I'm here to tell you right now, it's kind of a bum way to start off 2021. What Josh Hawley is trying to do, what Ted Cruz is trying to do, is not going to change the direction of this election. The House of Representatives is still controlled by Democrats. Not just Democrats, but Nancy Pelosi. Every member of the squad cast their ballot for the speakership to Nancy Pelosi. Think about that for a second. The power that Nancy Pelosi wields in the House can get people who have criticized her boldly, more than anybody else has, for the sake of trying to take her power and put it into their corner. They all voted for her for speaker. So that's where the House sits. They're going to need a majority of votes in the House in order to properly contest this. It isn't going to happen. But if we cannot have confidence in our elections, then we lose our country. That's a pretty extensive consequence to not paying attention to what's going on right now. Now, I know that you're excited about this week. And by excited, I mean maybe, doubling your anxiety medication and self-medicating however you choose to do that. Maybe it's trashy TV. I don't know. You do you. But I want you to understand that as we are covering this week, this month on this show, I am going to tell you what is real. I'm going to tell you what I feel and what I think and what I think is going to happen, and when I report to you what is accurate. Sometimes I feel like it's going to sound like we're not on the same team. I want Donald Trump to have a second term. But if it's not realistic, I'm not going to play you like it is to keep you here with me and lie to you. I'm just not going to do it. And I truly believe that the impact that this man, Donald Trump, has had on America, on American politics, on an awakening of how this country has worked in the past and where this country is going in the future is forever changed by Mr. Donald Trump. That is something that nobody can take away. And if Joe Biden is inaugurated at the end of January, fear not, we will still make it. We will. You might doubt it right now. I understand it. It's like potentially the mourning period when you lose somebody and then you find out, a month later, 2 months later, you're like, it still hurts. You still see signs of what makes it hurt down the line, but you have to figure out how to go on. And I'm going to give you some solutions for that in the 1 o'clock hour as well. If you feel the need in your gut right now to apply yourself, to be a part of a solution, that you look out and you're looking for somebody to solve this problem for you and it is nowhere to be found, that's because you're not looking in the mirror. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the bulk of what Donald Trump said, what he actually said on that call. And we're going to do it together right here on the Annie Frey Show. So happy to be back. We're going to get Ryan's mic fixed here on the break as well. Katie, Ryan, and myself back in the studio with another year's worth of shows. And what a year to start off. Peace out, 2020. 2021, we're back. We're here. We're ready to go. We'll take whatever you throw at us. We've survived 2020. How can 2020... I shouldn't even say that out loud.
Oh, no.
Let's just say, if you're alive and breathing, praise the Lord. We'll be right back.
Praise the Lord. Don't stop dancing and dreaming. There's still good news worth repeating. So lift your head and keep singing. Praise the Lord.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Years roll by.
At Ameren, Illinois, we're proud to power one of the smartest energy grids in the nation. With innovative technology, we have the power to detect, isolate, and restore outages faster than ever before. Plus, it gives you the power to manage and control your energy by keeping you informed about your usage, which can help save you money. Even better, our smart grid is getting smarter as we continue to make upgrades to our system. Now that's energy at work. Learn more at amerenillinois.com/metroeast.
Mark Cox here. Guys, let Victory Men's Health help you regain your vitality by optimizing your hormones, vitamins, and sexual health. Victory Men's Health has the most cutting-edge technologies to treat ED. They have wave therapy. Listen, this is the biggest advancement for men with ED since the launch of Viagra. That's pretty incredible. They do the treatments in their office. Victory Men's Health offers wave therapy in both their Illinois and Missouri location. Check them out online today at victorymenshealth.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Small business owners don't have the patience for nonsense, especially when it comes to their internet provider. They want the best services for the best price. Simply put, that's Spectrum Business. They give you great value, zero nonsense. Just call 833-919-2121. You'll get fast, reliable internet and phone with no contracts and no hidden fees. All for a price that could cut your bill in half. Spectrum Business. Call today, 833-919-2121.
Happy New Year, Michael's Flooring Outlet, there with the deals. As always, the greatest place in the St. Louis area and the Metro East to get your flooring. When you are looking to replace some of the flooring in your house, I want you to check out michaelsflooringoutlet.com first. They have the Smart Strand Silk Reserve, astonishing softness. Those are the words they give me. When you get to go to Michael's Flooring Outlet, you're going to be able to test this stuff. You're going to be able to look at it, feel it, touch it, experience it. It's going to give you a better overall idea of which direction you want to go when you're going to make that purchase. It also has this maximum durability that's going to make sure you're going to get your dollar's worth. Forever pure and forever easy to clean, which is so very important to preserve the longevity of the flooring you're going to invest in. Michael's Flooring Outlet has 3 convenient locations for you. The first one in St. Charles County, the second in West County, and the third in Darden Prairie. And when you go there, you're going to get a great quality product for a great value because you're going to be helped by the most experienced staff in the business. michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Dear beloved kitchen, we've had a lot of great times together, from morning coffee to midnight snacks. You've been there for us, but we're starting to outgrow you. We need more. That's why we called Mosby Building Arts. Their team designed a beautiful new kitchen that looks great and feels even better, so we can keep making memories for years to come.
Have a dated kitchen? Call Mosby at 314-909-1800 or visit callmosby.com.
Mosby Building Arts. Home never felt so good.
97.1 will continue to be your source for information with perspective, where St. Louis comes to talk and listen. 97.1 FM Talk. Free and fair.
Informer, you know, say that I miss no me, I go blame. Ali keep on bum them. Take the man that say that I miss no me, stamp somewhere down the lane. Ali keep on bum them. Informer, you know, say that I miss no me, I go blame. Ali keep on bum them. Take the man that say that I miss no me, stamp somewhere down the lane. Ali keep on bum them.
Happy 2021, folks. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Katie, Ryan, and myself here, excited to be back with you as we take in 2021 like drinking straight out of a fire hose. Welcome back, folks. If you have not been paying attention to the news, I give you a round of applause for taking a break, for taking an inhale and an exhale, maybe even twice, and not drowning yourself in the constant barrage of this kind of news. But we're back. We're here, and we're going to be covering it, and excited to be doing that with you. The Trump tapes is really what has consumed the last, I don't even know if it's 24 hours. Yeah, it's 24 hours by now. The president on a call with the Georgia Secretary of State. And as I was speaking in the last segment leading into this one, when you listen to just the clip where he says, I just need to find 11,780 votes, and he puts it on the Georgia Secretary of State, that is something that the president said. It is in the president's voice. It's the context that he said it in that is entirely left out once that part of the conversation is arrived to. And I want to play, this is a long clip, but you need to hear this. And if you don't hear this, I don't know if other folks are playing this right now. I'm not hearing it from everyone. I don't know if other people are taking the time to give you the full context of this small quote. When the president lays out that in that small quote that's being pulled that he just needs to find 11,780 votes. I'm gonna preface this long clip so that I give you some context to it. What he is saying is that he has a whole list of different things that is causing him to question the results. Donald Trump believes he won Georgia by like 400,000 votes. Did he? I don't know. I would love to know. I would love to have a really good explanation of the accusations he's making and if it's true or not. I don't know where to go to listen, to trust people to report on this accurately. But he's going to list off, and you're going to hear this, a half a dozen at least different things that he has great concern about regarding how things were counted, how voting took place in Georgia. And his point is, I could go down lane A, I could go down lane B, I could go down lane C, and I could easily find 11,780 votes that would win me Georgia. It doesn't matter which of these lanes I pick. I have concerns with all of them, but I don't need to win the election by 500,000 votes. I need 11,781 or whatever the number is. Listen to what the president says. Listen to him make the case. And that's the context that the original clip that was being played towards everybody, that's the context that led into that comment. He's not telling the Georgia Secretary of State to go manufacture 12,000 votes so he can win. That's not what the president is saying, but it is what people are leading you to believe. And that, once again, is how we have learned that we cannot trust the journalists of this country to be truth tellers. This is going to be a little bit long. I'm going to jump in and out of here as this goes on. So I want to make sure that you stick with us. You can watch us as well on the Facebook Live and the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Let's listen into the president.
Thank you very much. Hello, Brad and Ryan and everybody. We appreciate the time and the call. So we've spent a lot of time on this, and if we could just go over some of the numbers, I think it's pretty clear that we won. We won very substantially, Georgia. You even see it by rally size, frankly. We'd be getting 25,000, 30,000 people a rally, and the competition would get less than 100 people, and it never made sense. But we have a number of things. We have at least two or three, anywhere from 250 to 300,000 ballots were dropped mysteriously into the rolls. Much of that had to do with Fulton County, which hasn't been checked. We think that if you check the signatures, a real check of the signatures going back in Fulton County, you'll find at least a couple of 100,000 of forged signatures of people with who have been forged, and we are quite sure that's going to happen. Another tremendous number. We're going to have an accurate number over the next 2 days with certified accountants, but an accurate number will be given, but it's in the 50s of thousands, and that's people that went to vote and they were told they can't vote because they've already been voted for, and it's a very sad thing. They walked out complaining, but the number is large. We'll have it for you, but it's much more than the number of 11,779. That's the current margin is only 11,779. Brad, I think you agree with that, right? That's something I think everyone, at least that's a number that everyone agrees on. But that's the difference in the votes. But we've had hundreds of thousands of ballots that we're able to actually, we'll get you a pretty accurate number. You don't need much of a number because the number that in theory I lost by the margin would be 11,779. But you also have substantial numbers of people, thousands and thousands, who went to the voting place on November 3rd, were told they couldn't vote. Were told they couldn't vote because a ballot had been put in on their name. And, that's very, 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 very sad. We had, I believe it's about 4,502 voters who voted, but who weren't on the voter registration list. So it's 4,502 who voted, but they were not on the voter registration roll, which they had to be. You had 18,325 vacant address voters. They had the address was vacant, and they're not allowed to be counted. That's 18,325. Smaller number, you had 904 who only voted where they had just a PO, a post office box number. And they had a post office box number, and that's not allowed. We had at least 18,000, that's on tape. We had them counted very painstakingly. 18,000 voters having to do with Ruby Freeman. She's a vote scammer, a professional vote scammer and hustler. Ruby Freeman. That was the tape that's been shown all over the world that makes everybody look bad. You, me, and everybody else. Where they got number one, they said very clearly, and it's been reported that they said there was a major water main break. Everybody fled the area, and then they came back. Ruby Freeman, her daughter, and a few people. There were no Republican poll watchers. Actually, there were no Democrat poll watchers. I guess they were them, but there were no Democrats either, and there was no law enforcement. Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes. Those votes were put there a number of hours before the table was put there. I think it was, Brad, you would know, it was probably 8 hours or 7 hours before, and then it was stuffed with votes. They weren't in an official voter box. They were in what looked to be suitcases or trunks, suitcases, but they weren't in voter boxes. The minimum number it could be, because we watched it and they watched it certified in slow motion, instant replay, if you can believe it, but had slow motion, and it was magnified many times over. And the minimum it was 18,000 ballots, all for Biden. You had out-of-state voters. They voted in Georgia, but they were from out of state, of 4,925. You had absentee ballot sent to vacant. They were absentee ballots sent to vacant addresses. They had nothing on them about addresses. That's 2,326. And you had drop boxes, which was very bad. You had drop boxes that were picked up. We have photographs, and we have affidavits from many people. I don't know if you saw the hearings, but you have drop boxes where the box was picked up and not delivered for 3 days. So all sorts of things could have happened to that box, including, putting in the votes that you wanted. So there are many infractions, and the bottom line is many, many times the 11,779 margin that they said we lost by. We had the state is in turmoil over this. And I know you would like to get to the bottom of it, although I saw you on television today and you said that you found nothing wrong. and I didn't lose the state, Fred. People have been saying that it was the highest vote ever. There was no way. A lot of the political people said that there's no way they beat me, and they beat me. They beat me in the poll. As you know, every single state, we won every state. We won every state house in the country. We held the Senate, which is shocking to people, although we'll see what happens tomorrow or in a few days. And we won the House, but we won every single state house, and we won Congress, which was supposed to lose 15 seats, and they gained, I think, 16 or 17 or something. I think there's now a difference of 5. There was supposed to be a difference substantially more. But politicians in every state, but politicians in Georgia have given affidavits and are going to that there was no way they beat me in the election, that the people came out. In fact, they were expecting to lose, and they ended up winning by a lot because of the coattails. And they said there's no way that they've done many polls prior to the election. There was no way that they won. Ballots were dropped in massive numbers, and we're trying to get to those numbers, and we will have them. They'll take a period of time, certified, but they're massive numbers and far greater than the 11,779.
So I'm going to jump in right there because I started writing down all the large numbers of things that the president listed off here as concerns that he has about specifically in Georgia, because this phone call is between Donald Trump and the Secretary of State of Georgia. That's the call that was released. First, I think that I read, this is stuff that I read on Twitter, and I'm like, it might not be true. Did they release the clip first, Katie? The smaller clip of him saying, I just need to find 11,870 votes. I'm not sure.
I know that the transcripts were released, but I don't know if that tiny clip was first and then the rest, the full.
So the whole clip, the whole call is an hour long. I just played for you 8 minutes of it, and I'm cutting in because we got to get to the rest of the show. But what I want you to understand is he's talking about a list of concerns that, you know, I know that these things have been taken to court. I know that they have not been, they can't even get a judge to look at this. I feel, I don't know because I am not a legal expert. I will not even play one on the radio. But I wonder if the case that was being made in court was done by the best possible people. I don't know. I think that history will certainly shine a spotlight on that as well. But I've seen a lot of things that raise my eyebrows with my own eyes. I've seen it. And it concerns me. And I want to know the truth. And if you've been listening to the show with any consistency, you know that from before the election took place, I said I was concerned that Joe Biden was going to pull this off. I don't trust the system. And here's the crux of it, folks. I believe that the Republicans dropped the ball before the election happened, when all of the voting rules and laws were greatly expanded. I think that what took place in Pennsylvania with the extension of 3 days by the Supreme Court, who doesn't get to make election law and rule, I think that extension was unlawful, and we should have thrown every single thing we had at the wall to make that stop before the election happened, because the Democrats would win and thrive in the chaos. I think that they created a chaotic situation that they knew would put them in a position to potentially even lawfully win this election. How do we fix that going forward? How do we fix that for tomorrow in Georgia? I don't know, but the Georgia Secretary of State is holding a press conference at 2:00. So we're going to hear from Raffensperger at 2:00. We're going to air that on the show. And I'm going to take your phone calls too in the 1:00 hour. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Regardless, I want to tell you to keep hope, keep the faith. We're Americans. It's still the best country on the planet, and we're still here. And I don't like having to use the word still in that sentence. Stick around. When we come back, we're going to speak with Nan Hayworth, a friend of the show. She's a former congresswoman, and she is part of the Trump 2020 Advisory Board. What is the Trump Advisory Board feeling about the days and month to come? We'll ask Nan Hayworth when we return. Don't go away.
This is The Annie Frey Show. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
that I miss no me, I go glam. I like it boom boom down.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get in your comfort zone with 0% financing for 72 months and Carrier Cool Cash rebates on qualifying equipment when you purchase and install a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Do you promise to love, honor, and cherish, forsaking all others?
I do.
I do.
And now, by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you roommates. Go forth and...
That's not the vow you took. But if struggles with CPAP have you and your spouse sleeping in separate rooms, growing apart, and feeling more like roommates than loving partners, it might be time to look into Inspire. Inspire is the only FDA-approved sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body with just the click of a remote. That's right, just a button. There is no mask or hose and no need to sleep in separate rooms. If you are struggling with CPAP, great sleep awaits at inspiresleep.com. That's inspiresleep.com. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation. No mask, no hose, just sleep.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire is right for you. Review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. This is really, really nice. 2021 has arrived, thank God. Zero Res wants to thank all of their past and new customers by offering 21% off of all services for the month of January. That's pretty cool. Nothing is more important than being clean right now. Just check out Zero Res's review on Google and you'll see why they are the only choice when it comes to carpet cleaning and cleaning out your air ducts. The Zero Res difference is clear from the moment you walk in the door after they have done that job. So call Zero Res today at 314-474-2020, or you can book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Let them know you heard about them on the Glover Show, and everything we do is 21% off all January. Time to get your carpets clean, time to get those air ducts cleaned out. 10% discount for military, active, and veterans. 314-474-2020 for the DGS deal, 21% off during January.
Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group is the guy you need to help you get from that point where you've been saving your butt off for your career to make sure that when retirement comes, you're confident in all the hard work that you've put into making sure that you get that retirement that you want and desire. Well, when you're shifting to where you want to keep it safe, you want to protect your assets that you've worked hard to save, that's a little bit of a different strategy basis than when you're just saving. And that's where Thomas Helbig is an expert. He's offering a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review right now to you for listening to the station, for listening to the show. He loves working with 97.1 listeners, and I know that you're going to love working with him. I've had so many listeners reach back out to me and say, Annie, thank you so much for recommending him. Thank you for telling us about his seminars. We are so grateful that we connected with Thomas Helbig in the Retirement Advisory Group. Schedule yours today by calling 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-94. You can visit him online at retirementkey.com.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing program. It's been around for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. And get this, over the years, MediShare members have shared more than $2 billion of each other's medical bills. So they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is around $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
For everything that's happening, with analysis that's free and fair. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Don't miss a minute. Download the radio.com app or stream the station live anytime through your smart speaker.
My house in Budapest, my hidden treasure chest, golden grand piano, my beauty focus EOU. Ooh, I'd leave it all. My acres of land, that I've achieved.
We ask it in the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma, and God known by many names, by many different faiths. A man and a woman.
What? I'm gonna say something that normally I wouldn't say, but I'm making bad decisions as I come back on there. That's the first time that I've actually heard it, because I saw it 8 billion times on Twitter, and I'm like, no, you did not. My favorite part is all of the things that have come after that, with people changing like every word that has a sequence of M-A-N in the word. Now it's unbelievable. And it brings me to my guest, Dr. Nan Hayward. She is a former Congresswoman. I want to get that part right. Also a member of the Trump 2020 Advisory Board. If you were being sworn into Congress and they ended their first prayer with amen and a woman, are you changing your mind and just going home and being like, I can flip burgers, I can do something else? This place is nuts. I got to get your reaction.
Annie, yeah. Now, what is wrong with our government? I really don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's that we've been calling it government for so long. I just don't understand it. Go ahead.
No, Annie, I'm among the myriad who tweeted about this. That and the speaker, the person at the podium, is a longtime member, Emanuel Cleaver. He is a minister. He's from Missouri. And indeed, he seems to be a very, good-hearted man, one who's actually been, willing to reach out and speak, certainly on conservative channels, in ways that indicate, he'd like to work in an ecumenical way, at least in terms of spirit of cooperation. But golly gosh, I mean, he's a minister, Annie, saying that a minister must know that amen means it shall be done, so be it. Thus it is. Not, this has to do with
some sort of patriarchal,
right.
Spike the ball in the end zone. It just is. It's a sign of the times, which I wish I didn't have to see.
Yeah.
So you're a member of the Trump 20. Go ahead.
Oh no! Well, I was just going to say it's just incredible the ignorance we are willing to tolerate. And look, ignorance exists broadly, and I've made mistakes myself out of ignorance, but the way in which this pressure to transform, this fear that somehow we are going to offend the new generation of authoritarians if we don't rigorously scrub our language, including in ridiculous ways. Very troubling.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I was saying, as we came back in, this is our first show back here in 2021, as we're back in the saddle. I said, is this like riding a bike? It feels like they said, yes, but it's a motorcycle and you're going to Sturgis. There's quite a lot going on right now in the world. And being a member of a Trump 2020 Advisory Board, this is white knuckle stuff right now. I'm just curious where your head is for this presidency, as it potentially turns over to Biden, as potentially Trump gets a second term. I think that's highly unlikely, but also for the country, because that ultimately is what matters here.
Yeah. Well, Annie, I agree with you, not through any lack of virtue on President Trump's part. I will remain deeply troubled by what happened in the contested areas in this country, in those key states. And I'm sure Phil Klein and the Amistad Project, but keep your eye on the Amistad Project. They focused rightly on Mark Zuckerberg's $400 million intervention. He essentially procured the services of government as a private citizen with private money, obviously corporately generated, through his businesses and investments. But he ensured that governments using his private funds would discriminate in their treatment of voters based on their political demographics. That is outrageous. How that's not a violation ultimately of equal protection, I cannot imagine. And so I'm troubled. What I'm troubled most by, honestly, as a Republican, I've been a Republican all of my, sentient life, so to speak. And I am most troubled by those Republicans who somehow cannot perceive that this is an existential threat to all citizens, but certainly to all Republicans. If this can be done, where does it stop? And to think that I cheer the members of Congress and the senators who are willing to challenge the results from these contested states. And I cannot fathom the responses of people like Tom Cotton, who put out a statement yesterday, Chip Roy from Texas, who've done some good things as Republicans and conservatives, but saying, well, it's really not up to us, it's up to the states. Well, if you're just decorative, why does the Constitution have you guys certify the results?
Yeah, absolutely. The checks and balances there are significant. Ryan, go ahead.
We're talking with Dr. Nan Hayworth, former Congresswoman. And as a member of the Trump 2020 Advisory Board, Nan, do you feel like the president has had to go this alone, or does his team around him, are they supportive of him or not?
I do think he's got a lot of support. And look, this has been the most from internal sources within our country, as opposed to, say, a war like, World War II or the Cold War. This president has faced 4 years of battle against forces from within his own government, for heaven's sake, or within our government, from, the antecedent administration literally trying to sabotage him, not only as a candidate, but as a president-elect and as a president, and a Congress that has done the same. So it's entirely understandable that President Trump, who is by nature pugnacious, this is true. And, a lot of us have come to understand and agree that, in an atmosphere like this, you have to be willing to sock back, because you can see what happens when you don't. So, I think, is he probably, getting, you can hear it, his tone in the call, it's sort of like getting extremely frustrated. Yeah, I'm sure he is. And that makes it tough on everyone. But bravo to the folks. And, I love Cleta Mitchell. She's such a great Republican and conservative woman. She's on that call with Raffensperger and Germany in Georgia. And, to take look at the abuses that have been swung at the attorneys who have been willing to work on this.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The threats. I mean, this is, that's why every Republican should say, I'm going to stand for election integrity. Even if I think, this election is a done deal, we need to have these questions resolved. And they have not been resolved. They can't be resolved unless courts or legislatures, this is true, state legislatures have to take the lead. They have the subpoena power. Courts have, and prosecutorial authorities have the power to demand documents, to call for audits that actually have teeth, as opposed to recounting things that we know are going to go a certain way. If you just have the ballots, you don't have the signatures. Ballots are ballots. What do the signatures say? Right? We've just got too much evidence from across the country that's getting ignored. So I won't be surprised if and when Joe Biden is inaugurated, but I think we should have a clawback provision, and these investigations cannot stop.
Dr. Hayworth, I only got about a minute left here, but you've served in the House as a Republican. Yeah. You said you've been a Republican the majority of, if not all of your life.
All my life, yeah.
Trump has changed this party. I'm curious what your opinion is going forward, regardless if he pulls, something in the bottom of the ninth out of his hat here going forward. What's the Republican Party like going forward after Donald Trump?
I think the Republicans have to recognize that the Trump coalition is something that we cannot take for granted. President Trump has been transformative. Our leadership going forward will have to accord respect to President Trump, to the folks who have supported him, and understand why they have. And I do think that the voices who have stood prominently against President Trump should take a seat, should be supportive, should write checks to the party, and sit back and let those who will be unifying, who can bring the Trump coalition, keep it together, along with Republicans who may have been somewhat disaffected. But that's what I see going forward. And I think, we start with the folks who are standing with President Trump now, obviously. Those are the ones who, to me, have the brightest future in this party.
Well, we're appreciative of your time today. Quite a crazy moment here in history, and we're grateful for your voice on it as well. Dr. Hayworth, thank you so much for the time.
Anytime, Annie. Thank you so much.
You as well. Former Congresswoman, a member of the Trump 2020 Advisory Board, here with us on the Andy Frey Show, Dr. Nan Hayworth. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm told we might have Stephen Moore to talk about the economy in 2021. What? I mean, we don't know what's going to happen this afternoon, let alone during this year in the economy. We'll ask Stephen Moore. He'll give us some predictions. Don't go away. Back in a minute.
It may be hard for you.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/private. That's right, free, zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/private. That's forhims.com/private for your free online visit. forhims.com/private.
Home warranties are a good idea. I think that's pretty obvious. They give you peace of mind and they can save you some money in the long run. That said, difficult to find the right home warranty company. Well, I got one for you that I think you're going to love. This is Tim Convey, and I want to tell you about Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. UpkeepSTL.com is the website. The STL is important because they're based right here in St. Louis, which means they're much easier to hold accountable than some of these huge warranty companies that you can never track anybody down. And they're sending different contractors from all sorts of different places into your home to do any work or to check things out. Not Upkeep. Upkeep sends their own employees based right here in St. Louis into your home. They send them in to process any claims you make, but they also send them in 4 times a year to do maintenance. So they're never denying a claim like so many of these companies do due to maintenance because they're the ones performing the maintenance. This place couldn't be better. I couldn't be more impressed with them. Spend some time on the website and mention you heard about them from Tim Convey and they'll give you $100 off. UpkeepSTL.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. K254CR St. Louis. Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group. 97.1 FM Talk. A radio.com station.
The president under pressure. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. 2 House Democrats, Representatives Ted Lieu and Kathleen Rice, sending a criminal referral to the FBI chief over President Trump's phone call with Georgia's Secretary of State, suggesting enough votes could be found to overturn Joe Biden's win in Georgia. The referral accuses the president of soliciting voter fraud. President Trump calls the election results fraudulent. He'll be rallying in Georgia tonight for 2 Republican senators, while Joe Biden rallies for their Democratic challengers. More than 3 million already early voted for tomorrow's runoff elections.
I know all the pundits are talking about our record voter turnout. It is unprecedented. It is historical. It is stunning to witness.
But the Reverend Raphael Warnock says that doesn't mean those who haven't voted yet can afford to skip it tomorrow. He's hoping to unseat Senator Kelly Loeffler while John Ossoff faces incumbent David Perdue. Congress is scheduled to count the Electoral College votes Wednesday, and additional security measures will be in place.
Rallies and marches in support of President Trump and counter demonstrations are planned for Wednesday morning before a joint session of Congress counts the Electoral College votes. Security officials on Capitol Hill have provided guidance for members of Congress.
Most importantly, to protect the public, to protect the staff, and of course, to protect members of Congress who may be in harm's way.
House Democratic Caucus Chairman Hakeem Jeffries, Fox is told there are no specific threats of violence, but officials are always concerned about the unknown. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
And dozens of Republican lawmakers who plan to challenge election certification are facing some bipartisan criticism. Message service Slack is apologizing as a global outage disrupts service on the first day back to work and school for millions of people after the New Year holiday. The outage has been affecting Slack users in multiple countries, including the U.S., Germany, the UK, and India. America is listening to Fox News.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Smithbrook, Illinois.
New year, new budgets. Every small business has unique needs. And when you partner with a Dell Technologies advisor, you get real-time tailored advice. They'll even give you a free consultation on your servers and storage devices to develop a custom solution to help improve your company's productivity. Plus, get special financing with Dell Business Credit and big savings on business computers with Intel Core processors. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Monday gloom of January continues. Fog, clouds, drizzle from time to time. 40 to 45 degrees. It's kind of damp and chilly out there. Tonight, clouds this evening, some clearing, but not until well after midnight. 25 for the overnight low. Tuesday, still looking pretty good. Probably the best day of the week. Plenty of sunshine. Warmest afternoon of the week. Temperatures near 50. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm Thomas Helbig, founder of the Retirement Advisory Group. When I meet my clients for the first time, many of them have worked over 90,000 hours and have built up a life savings. Their question is, what can I do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? Not only do we set up a strategy to protect your retirement nest egg from market losses, but we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money. You've earned it, and it's my job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call me now for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review, and you'll get a copy of my second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. This book covers everything I teach in my live educational events. Call me now at 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com. Once again, that's 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
Dr. Abicki knew he needed an extra nutritional boost if he was going to run his first half marathon at age 50. He knew that he would need energy, immune support, and nutritional support to help him reach his goals. That's why he created NeoVitin. NeoVitin is a daily multivitamin that supports your energy and immune function so you can stay on the move every day. Plus, Dr. Abicki's breakthrough proprietary blend supports your overall nutrition and well-being for the added boost you need. At less than $1 a day, you can feel good that you are giving your body the support it needs to be your best at an affordable price. And as always, a portion of the proceeds from NeoVitin are donated to the Kenneth J. Rubicki Foundation supporting cancer research. Start reaching your goals in 2020 with the energy and support you need from NeoVitin. Find NeoVitin today in the vitamin aisle at Dierberg's, Schnucks, or online at neovitin.com. That's NeoVitin.com. Neovitin.com.
Join Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar and lose the weight, stop smoking, or end anxiety for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. Because of coronavirus, seminar now online, live Saturday, January 16th for the St. Louis area. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is Zipline? It's Golden Oak's fast and easy online mortgage tool that leaves you with more time to plan a family movie night.
I get to pick the movie.
And clean up the popcorn you weren't planning on sharing. At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it. Right now, rates are at a historic low 2.5%. Visit goldenoaklending.com to use Zipline. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on a conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit. 111 Westport Plaza, St. Louis, Missouri.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Facts presented fairly. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Stream the station anytime at 971talk.com or download the app for your phone at radio.com. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This
I'm
is the
glad I
Annie
brought
Frey
two bottles
Show.
of this.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my God.
Like, that's how I felt when I saw Mayor de Blasio dancing just now. I just don't need to see that at the beginning of 2021. Do something with this city. Honestly, get it together.
God. Goodness. All right.
Anyway.
We still got a lot of show.
Tiptoeing back to Bravo in about 20 minutes. But while I have this platform, I got some other stuff I want to say.
St. Louis's own Andy Cohen, who playing his sound on this show is not something that you're probably going to hear a lot. I like Andy Cohen, probably disagree on most things, but Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper at the New Year's Eve, whatever, was that on CNN? Is that on CNN? Mm-hmm. I mean, for them to well, mostly Andy with a few shots in him, to address how obnoxious it is for the mayor of New York, shut down New York City, to have the mayor and his wife dancing on the graves of the businesses that he has closed down at New Year's Eve. How tone deaf can you possibly get? We can talk economic stimulus, or we can talk stopping from these government leaders from taking away Americans' rights and abilities to make their own economic stimulus by going back to work. Somebody who may agree with that, I don't know, Stephen Moore. He's joining us now. Happy New Year. Stephen Moore, welcome back to the show. Hope you had a great holiday. We're still in a pandemic. Mayor de Blasio finds it appropriate to be dancing in New York City on New Year's Eve when he's told nobody else that they can come down, and businesses all over are shut down. How does the economy recover if we continue to behave this way?
Hi, Annie. Happy New Year to you as well. Well, this is becoming a pattern throughout the country of governors, mayors, health officials, politicians violating the very rules that they hand down for the rest of us. And it shows the arrogance of the political class, right? That they think these rules are for the little people like you and me. But those rules don't apply to them. And, you know, one of my favorite stories, I mean, you mentioned de Blasio. We have at our Committee to Unleash Prosperity, we're putting together a kind of a hall of shame of these politicians, most wanted list of politicians who violated their own orders. But my favorite one is one of these. This was a Canadian politician who made a video of him at home, you know, for Christmas, drinking eggnog and, you know, by the Christmas tree. Well, it turned out that he was in like Puerto Rico or the Caribbean somewhere, and he had made the tape before Christmas. So these politicians go to great lengths to try to make people think that they're that they're complying with the rules. So this is a big problem. Now, look, the lockdowns are very severe in states like California, New York, and Illinois right now, and New Jersey, and those are the states with very high unemployment. And by the way, those states have done nothing. I mean, no state is more locked down today than California, and yet the virus is out of control there. There's just no evidence that the lockdowns have actually had any effect. We knew that New York, New Jersey had the most strictest lockdowns earlier in the year. They had the highest death rate. So why are we still doing this? In fact, just before I came on your show, I was writing my column this week that's called Coronavirus for Dummies. And I lead to the piece is, why are we still doing the same things we were doing 10 months ago when we know they don't work?
Yeah, definition of insanity.
Yeah, Stephen Moore, I was going to ask you, it seems as if we've outlived the 30-day health emergency declaration by now. Is it
about 300 days ago, right?
Yeah, I think so. Is it just taking this long for these things to work their way through the court system? I mean, what is the solution to getting things back up and running at this point?
Well, number one, since the lockdowns the way I like to put it is lockdowns don't flatten the curve of the virus, they flatten your businesses and they put people on unemployment lines. And, that's tragic to see all there was a report that came out late last year that showed that as many as 40% of all restaurants and best bars in America may go bankrupt if this continues. I mean, think about this. The period that just ended, the Thanksgiving to New Year's period, is by far the biggest period for restaurants and bars and stores. And so many of them were shut down. They missed their peak season. So I'm very disturbed by this. Now, the good news is, because let's start 2021 on a point of optimism, that the Trump vaccine is out there. It is being dispersed. We're going to have, by the end of hopefully February, we're going to have tens of millions of Americans vaccinated and immunized from this disease. And then we can hopefully get back to some semblance of normalcy. But then, of course, Biden is now calling for another $1 to $2 trillion stimulus bill on top of the $1 trillion bill we passed 2 weeks ago and the $1.5 trillion we passed earlier this year. I mean, we're spending trillions of dollars like they're M&Ms.
Yeah, and it's our grandkids who are going to have to pay.
Of course.
I want to ask you. Well, we look at. I mean, what happens in Georgia with these two Senate races? There's so many consequences, ramifications for how Georgia decides to elect these two senators going forward. But economically speaking, I read on Twitter, don't know if it's still accurate, but the stock market's not looking as good because it's looking like maybe the Democrats might pull off these two seats one way or the other. What do you expect to happen if Republicans win one or two of these seats, or if the Democrats take them both and the Democrats now own all three parts of government?
Well, that's a scary scenario. By the way, I looked over the last 50 years at all the different permutations. When you have divided government, when you have all Republican control, and you all have you have all Democratic control. And the best scenario for the stock market and the economy has tended to be divided power in government in Washington. And the worst scenario has been when the Democrats control everything, because then they just go hog wild and they've got a blank check, literally and figuratively. And so they start spending money. That's why I brought up I'm calling these the $2 trillion Senate races, because if the Democrats win these races, you're going to see another $2 trillion out the door immediately from Biden. It will be seen and correctly, it will be seen as a validation of the Biden agenda by the voters of Georgia. Now, the thing that's really troubling to me about this, because you're right, I don't follow the polls. I follow the betting markets. The betting markets are much more accurate than polls are. The betting markets have gone from a 75% chance of winning both of these seats now to only a 50% chance that and 50% chance that Democrats will win both of the seats. That's really going to be bad for the country and bad for Georgia. And incidentally, these two Democrats running for Senate in Georgia, they are radical leftists. They're not like even masquerading as centrists. They are way over the top radical leftists. kind of hate America. America is a racist country. Tear down all the statues. We're going to make Puerto Rico a state. We're going to make Washington, D.C. a state. We're going to get rid of the filibuster. We're going to pack the courts. We're going to do the Green New Deal. We're going to do Medicare for all. I mean, they're going to be right there with the squad. AOC. That's how left wing these two Senate candidates from Georgia are. So it would be really troubling if the Republicans lost these races.
We're speaking with senior economic contributor at Freedom Works, Stephen Moore, also author of the book Trumponomics: Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. I am in my mid-30s. I have read a lot of history. I've studied history, but I haven't lived it. And I'm curious, it's when I haven't, as a grown person, experienced, this kind of turmoil, I don't know if this is something that makes it cycle and comes back every 30 years and you feel as though you're like, well, we can point to this election or this date. Do you feel like America is strong enough, regardless of what happens in the Senate, regardless with what happens with whatever challenges the Trump campaign has out there, a likely Biden presidency, is America still strong enough to withstand worst case scenario coming forward?
Well, it's a really good and topical question, because right before Christmas, there was a major report that came out from one of the international groups. I think it was the International Monetary Fund. And according to this study, by the year 2028, China is supposed to surpass the United States in terms of, who is the largest economy in the world. Now, the reason I bring that up is the only way that's going to happen, Annie, is if we do damage to ourselves, right? If we tie one hand behind our back, then maybe we're going to have and that's what Biden's agenda is. It's not good for growth. It's negative for growth. It will slow the rate of growth. It'll increase poverty, increase unemployment. And I can't think of anything in the 96-page report, and I read the whole thing that Biden put out on the economy that was good. It was all negative. It was all redistribution. It was all higher taxes, higher regulation, Green New Deal stuff. And that does scare me, Annie, frankly, that we're going to do to ourselves what our enemies would love to see us do. I mean, China's the communists in Beijing are dancing a little jig about the Biden agenda. Let me give you one example. The craziness you and I have talked about in the past weeks about, rejoining this idiotic anti-American Paris Climate Accord. I mean, that when the requirements start to hit China in that accord?
Soon. 2030.
10 years from now. Meanwhile, we jump off the cliff. We destroy our energy industry. Remember Donald Trump used to say the other countries are laughing behind our back. They are. I mean, China can't believe their good luck here. So I am nervous about it. I know that was a long-winded answer, but I am nervous about it. Let's not decapitate our own economy. Come on, let's have pro-growth policies. Let's have the lowest taxes in the world, not the highest taxes. How did we get this vaccine? We got this vaccine in 10 months, which is a miracle, because Donald Trump unleashed the private sector. This was not a government program, folks. This was not a government program. It was Trump saying, I'm going to get the government out of your way. That's how we got the vaccine.
Yeah.
Stephen Moore, with all of the spending spree that we've been on for the last 10 to 11 months, how soon do you think that's going to affect our economy? I mean, we talk about our grandkids and things, but could it be sooner than that it starts to weigh us down?
That is the $10 billion question. And I don't think anyone really knows the answer to it. I mean, you can't, the way I put it very simply, because I'm only smiling when you ask that question, because I get asked that question all of the time. And I always say, look, if you take out a debt, you have to repay the debt, right? I mean, and becoming higher and higher indebted is just not a good practice, right? It's not a good practice for a business. It's not. Now, debt is not inherently evil, but when your debt gets out of control and you can't even, you're paying taxes just to pay the interest on the debt, you got a problem, right? You've got a problem. And so I think we all recognize this, and yet, as I said, Biden wants to spend another $2 trillion. They believe in this idea of modern monetary theory, which is just all we have to do is print money, and we can become rich. They really believe that. And, wouldn't that be wonderful, by the way, if that were true? I mean, we'd be living in the Garden of Eden if all we had to do is just print money and then, dump it out helicopters and everybody would get rich. I mean, geez, let's do it. Then the only constraint would be whether we have enough paper and ink to print all the bills.
Being about a preteen and thinking my parents had that ability, and they told me very quickly that that was not correct.
It's funny you should mention that, Annie, because I remember when I was a kid, I was like 8 or 9 years old, and we would go out, and my mom would either use her credit card or she'd write a check. I'm like, that's amazing. How do you get one of those cards? It's like,
I'll take one of those. Magic.
You just give them this card and they give you whatever you want. And I was
Did she work for
I
the
didn't
government?
realize you
She worked for the federal
That's
government.
the way
That's
they
how you
act.
do
Like,
Need one of those printers.
and I thought, what I want for my 16th birthday? I wanted one of those cards where you just get all the use it and get all these free things.
Yeah, there's a
But
life
that was
lesson
the
at the end of that
mentality.
story. Steven, it's great to have you back on the show. Good to have you here.
You
Happy
too.
New Year. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
Okay, you too. Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye-bye. He's a senior economic contributor at FreedomWorks and author of a wonderful book you should check out, Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, kind of interested to get your feeling about what's going to happen next. I'm less interested. It's not that I don't care, but I'm less interested in what you want to have happen. It's more about, let's talk about the likelihood of what is to come. 314-241-9797. Did I say that right, Katie? It's
perfect.
My first time back.
Excellent.
What random client of mine's phone number did I just give out and say, tell us how you feel about the next few days of your life? You're calling Air Comfort Service and saying, so I got some things I want to get off my chest. They're like, do you want to buy a furnace? Stick around. We will take your phone calls when we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
At Cordell & Cordell, we focus on representing men in domestic relations cases.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
We recognize that our clients are going through perhaps the toughest time they will ever go through. We understand that everything that's important to them is on the table. Their assets, the role in their children's lives. That's an immense responsibility that our clients entrust us with. And we take that very seriously. We've been trained to do that. We've helped thousands of clients before. And it's our hope that you'll choose to entrust us with what's most important to you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives, which includes protecting men's financial means to do so. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's St. Louis area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 314-725-0000. Online at CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision that should not be based solely upon advertisements. Cordell & Cordell, 600 Kellwood Parkway, Suite 310, Chesterfield, Missouri, 63017.
Your energy needs are changing. That's why Ameren Missouri isn't waiting on the future. We're building it with a smart energy plan, advancing thousands of projects across the state. Here in St. Louis, we're adding new clean energy sources and installing new composite poles to better withstand storms. Moving Missouri closer to a future of energy centered around you. That's energy at work. Learn more at amerenmissouri.com/plan.
The Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
Coping-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Feel like your emotions are all over the place? A healthy routine that includes enough sleep, exercise, and proper nutrition can help you feel more centered.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Menards has everything you need to keep your home clean. Stop in and check out our entire selection of Liveman cleaning products. Liveman has a wide variety of mops, brushes, dusters, and brooms to choose from. Pick up a 14-inch angle broom that can be used indoors and out and is great for those tough-to-reach corners. Right now, it's only $8.99. Save big money now at Menards. Prices are good until January 16th.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. It's the first of the year and the housing market is already red hot. Homes are selling day one on the market with multiple offers, and it's only January. Industry experts are predicting that this will be the biggest year we've ever seen for home purchases. We need to get you pre-approved today. Start the new year off right and get pre-approved for your new home purchase by visiting thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Join Mark Patrick's Hypnosis Seminar and lose the weight, stop smoking, or end anxiety for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. Because of coronavirus, seminar now online, live Saturday, January 16th for the St. Louis area. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from the name in St. Louis weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk, powered by Air Comfort Service.
They won't leave me alone. I need a shadow to hole in the wall. 'Cause baby, I don't know what kind of state I'm in. We got a ways to go. I've been around this whole.
Yeah, I definitely say we have a ways to go. It is hard to tell the state we're in right now. It is very difficult right now, I think, probably because we're coming off of most of us, not all of us, not everybody is taking off the holiday season. A lot of people, very important workers out there who have to continue working through the holidays. We're grateful for every one of you. But it's hard to, I think, if you care about this stuff, we certainly do. And if you're here, we assume that you care about it to an extent. Doesn't mean that you agree with us, but we're glad you're here to gauge the mental state of being so, I feel personally disconnected from, like, give me the truth straight. Give me the real information. I don't want your flavor added to it. I don't want to know, I don't mind listening to people's opinions. I don't mind listening to people's takes on what's real, but it's so hard to find what is real. Nobody's willing to do that. I guess the stakes are too high when it comes to our news reporting. In our news media these days, that you got to get it in. You got to make sure that when you deliver said piece of information, that you do it in context where, and I always say this, and I will repeat this over and over and over again, it's not just how you report, it's how you choose to report, what you choose to report, and specifically what you choose not to report. 314-241-9797. I really am interested in how you feel the next days, week, month, is going to end up. How do you feel about the way we're going? Do you have any optimism about you? Do you have an enormous amount of optimism about you? 314-241-9797. Mike is holding on the line right now. Mike, thanks for calling the Andy Frey Show. You're on the air.
Hi, Annie.
Hi. Thanks for calling.
Make sure it's the right mic. There's multiple mics out there.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Like I've heard you say a million times, and I mean, just to be in all clarity, I'm a Christian, and I believe in capital T truth, like you do, and I'm optimistic because I feel that actual truth, in the end, the time frame is hard to nail down, will win out. And as far as what I hope will happen, I think there's a lot of people that probably feel the same way, that there's, after 4 years of just a militaristic, insane level of malicious assault on a presidency, using every tool available and tearing up our, the FBI and just using all these systems. I'm hopeful that the Josh Hawleys and Ted Cruz's of the world are, willing to, they're not just patronizing a voting bloc for the next 2 years or 4 years, but they're actually willing to die on this hill a little bit, because truth is essential in the end for any of this to mean anything. And to try to explain these things to my 15, 18-year-old and 20-year-old kids who are smart and observant and seeing these duplicity and falsehoods and materialism and shallowness just for either power's sake, greed's sake, or whatever it might be. I just keep telling them that truth is what we believe in and what we fight for. The Republican thing, the conservative thing, the Democrat, the liberal, all those labels don't mean anything.
Mike,
Truth.
I love your comment. I think it is so well placed and well timed and important for people to hear. Really more important for people to hear from people like you than people like me, because I think there are a lot of people out there right now who are worried, who are scared, who are anxious, who have that same faith that you have, that I have. I know that I need to be reminded of it. When I get where it always seems to me that the last thing that I do is decide to go to prayer with things. Like, I try to fix it myself in every possible way that I can possibly muster. And then finally, that's my last resort, which is a really, really terrible way to go, but it just seems that that's how it is. That needs to be applied here as well if you are a person of faith. And I think that's a wonderful reminder. Mike, thank you for the call. Really grateful to have you out there.
Thanks, Annie.
Especially when you listen to him and you're talking about kids. My kids are asking me about this election, and my kids are 11 and younger, and I don't really want them. I want them to worry about things like Pokemon and Minecraft. Like, this is your realm right now. There's plenty of time for you to worry about, is Joe Biden going to win the election? Is Donald Trump is he going to get the votes he needs? I'm like, don't worry about it, because your life, my job as a parent is to make sure that you are provided for. And I will do everything in my power, one way or the other, to make sure that that is the case, regardless of who sits in the Oval Office. Got another Mike on the phone. Let's get to him. 314-241-9797. If you want to call us. Second Mike, thanks for calling the show. You're on air.
Hey, Annie, how you doing?
Doing okay. Thanks for calling.
Hey, yeah. So I just, I don't know. I'm optimistic. I'm glad 2020 is over.
Amen.
I
woman.
Yeah, I just really both. I'm really wishing that we can get to the point where we're not as divisive, and the whole loyalty aspect of politics is exposed and gone. It seems that, I just remember from Jeff Sessions being, the DOJ and one person after the other, and the whole loyalty aspect. And I hope that it gets to the thing about being loyal to the Constitution and the country, and that being first versus who we particularly like. Because honestly, we really don't like everyone or know people personally in politics. We just like what they represent at that type of moment. It seems that more in this situation, we put aside the morality and focus more on the context of, the bills that Trump pushed. So I kind of am hopeful. I wish that we can do away with a lot of the hatred and violence talk that's going out right now in our country.
Mike, don't you think that so much of that, I've noticed this in my life, that it's hard because we're in a socially distanced reality right now, but we give so much of our attention, and not inappropriately so, to what's going on in Washington, D.C., to what our politicians are doing. And we do become very tribalized when we do that, to the point where our neighbor who is on the other side of the literal fence, but also the political fence, you start to think a certain way or to understand them only through the lens of that political party. You're missing out on such an opportunity to have a human connection with somebody, to where our political affiliation cannot be the most important thing about ourselves, and it cannot be the most important thing about the people who we meet. And that's really going to only be up to people like you and me on an individual case-by-case basis. And that's, I feel like, when we stop giving people so much power to continue to profit off of our tribalization, we'll get our power back that is ours to begin with.
And that's why I listen to your show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mike, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, you too.
I appreciate you. I mean, really, truly, when you think about the last, especially the 2 years, but I think about the entire Trump presidency has been this way. And I know that this went into the Obama administration as well. I subjectively, honestly, admittedly believe that people who didn't like Obama on the whole handled that a little bit differently than the people who don't like Trump. But when you have a mass media organization behind one of those and against the other, it makes it easier for one to be a little bit more spotlighted. But I do believe that we concede a lot of our power and our authority on these issues. We give these pundits, and I mean, some of you are sitting in your cars right now going, Annie, you're a pundit. Like, you need us to be tribalized. I actually don't. I actually don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I am a conservative mom of 3 and 1 on the way in June. I am a Christian. It's the foremost formative thing about who I am as an individual. But I respect that you might not be a Christian. I respect that you might not be a conservative. I respect that you might be not be a Republican. Those are things that I am. But I don't need you to be that way in order for me to have a conversation with you. My goal here is to explain my perspective and how I've arrived at my opinions. And you'll notice that those things have nothing to do with your perspective and how you've arrived at your opinions. That's where discussion comes into play, where we get to learn from one another. And if I'm interested in knowing how you arrive at your conclusions, and you are in turn interested in how I arrive at my conclusions, it might be possible that at the end of a conversation between yourself and myself, we might understand each other a little bit more and be more firm in our foundation of what we believed in the first place. You can have a conversation with somebody you disagree with, grow to love that person, and use each other to sharpen yourselves against one another in your arguments, but you have to be able to have those conversations. You go ad hominem, you attack people's character, like I always go to this because it's the easiest one, but the Hillary Clinton conversation about her pantsuits and how attractive she is or isn't, like, oh my gosh, is there not anything else that we could be criticizing Hillary Clinton for other than what she wears? What did Mike Pence name a tie that Mike Pence has worn in the last year? Solid red. There you go. I mean, it's a cheap, unfair, and really lazy way to get a point across is to go straight to insults. Which is why I just don't peddle in them. Like, if that's the way, if that's the way people want to chat on our comments, on our posts on social media or on our lives, I just don't do it. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. It's not worth anybody's time. And I promise you, you change nobody's mind in the process. 314-241-9797. Let's take some more phone calls on the other side of this break. Is Craig still holding on, Katie?
He sure is.
Craig, hold on. You're up first. And we'll start with you, 314-241-9797. For the folks who want to join, Joe, I think, also holding on the line. We'll get to Joe as well. Stick around. More Annie Frey Show right around the corner.
I need a shadow to hole in the wall. 'Cause baby, I don't know what kind of state I'm in. We got a ways to go.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Baby, I don't know what kind of state I'm in. We got a ways to go.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. You're not the only one working more from inside your home, so is your HVAC system. If your system needs service, Air Comfort Service will promptly and safely be there for you. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Do you promise to love, honor, and cherish, forsaking all others?
I do.
I do.
And now, by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you roommates. Go forth and...
That's not the vow you took. But if struggles with CPAP have you and your spouse sleeping in separate rooms, growing apart, and feeling more like roommates than loving partners, it might be time to look into Inspire. Inspire is the only FDA-approved sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body with just the click of a remote. That's right, just a button. There is no mask or hose and no need to sleep in separate rooms. If you are struggling with CPAP, great sleep awaits at inspiresleep.com. That's inspiresleep.com. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation. No mask, no hose, just sleep.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire is right for you. Review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
So you definitely need to know about the Monsheen team if you are looking to sell your home. I am hearing wild and crazy things about the real estate market right now. And if you're looking to sell your home, you want to get top dollar. The Monsheen team gets that. That's why they are the #1 agents for Berkshire Hathaway Alliance Real Estate since 2005. Not too shabby, if you ask me. Christy and JT Monsheen have a combined 60 plus years of experience in the real estate business. They are a mother-son team, and they work diligently beyond the sale to make sure that you are fully satisfied with your experience working with the Monsheen team. I'm going to spell their last name for you so you know how to type it in when you go Google them, or you just go to the website at themonsheenteam.com. It's Christy and JT, MONSCHEIN. themonsheenteam.com. That's the website. Work with some people who you can trust. Work with some people who are going to make sure that they understand the value of what you're trying to get for your beautiful home. They are there and they're waiting for your call. 636-537-8288. 636-537-8288. themonsheenteam.com.
Need new tires or auto service? Check out the great deals at Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers at go-to-dobbs.com. Find big savings on the best tire brands and expert auto service. Shop our deals, then come into a Dobbs near you. Click on go-to-dobbs.com today.
I'm Tom Shane. When I reflect on this past year, I'm filled with gratitude for Shane Company customers. Being a part of the most important occasions in your life means so much to us. Our unique jewelry makes a memorable gift for an anniversary, the new year, to make someone smile, or to simply treat yourself. Browse our huge selection. We have classic styles, modern designs, vintage looks, and more. Our jewelry is designed in-house and crafted to the highest standards. That's why we can guarantee it for life for free. You won't find our styles, our quality, or anywhere near our value at the mall. Drop by or book an in-store or virtual appointment. Your gift will have lasting value and meaning this year and every year thereafter. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business, Shane Company and shaneco.com.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you have heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple on the station as the financial expert for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend on 97.1 FM Talk, and in case you miss any of those shows, on his podcast on radio.com. That's radio.com, and search Safe Money 97.1. So call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
The Dave Glover Show.
Unsolved Mysteries. I should have been clued in by the name.
Oh, yeah, they don't solve those.
But I watched 3 of them until I got to the point where I'm like, is anyone going to solve a crime?
Weekdays at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk.
I've got a new age girl. Tell us what she's like. Environmentalist girl. Does she ride a bike? She has a crystal necklace. She spends a lot of cash. Her vibes are rather reckless. Heading for a crash.
I think the more discontent I get with the current state of affairs, the more I want to go back to 90s pop and rock and just be in a place where I was at the SIUE swimming pool listening to The Point, probably Tony Colombo on the air. I don't know. And just like not a care in the world. Mm-hmm. Who was going to get to wear the water rings that day? That was the question. Which, by the way, this is I'm going to get to these phone calls. Craig, don't hang up. I'm coming to you in a minute. Regarding water wings, there are these things today called puddle jumpers that go around the body of the kid, and they clip in the back, and then they also have arm things that are like the water wings there is nothing more painful in the world than having wings ripped off of your hand, the plastic that's like stuck to your arm, and it's moms, they're like, come on, take them off. And you're like, no, Mom, don't do it. I'll just wear them forever. Puddle jumpers. Who knew? If you've got a kid or a grandkid that wants to learn how to swim, you need to find yourself a puddle jumper. I think they're like $20. And it like you could put a little kid, like a 1-year-old, in one of these, as long as the weight and everything works out fine. You just put them in the pool and they just like float around like a bobber. Water wings didn't keep you from drowning. They kept your arms from drowning. Your head and your mouth and your nose, on the other hand. And then it was like torture. Put water wings on the terrorists overseas and rip them off. They'll say anything you need them to say. It's unbelievable. We've been talking about the state of affairs in this country, how you're handling it, what you expect to have happen. And Craig wants to ask me a question here. Craig's been holding on the line, 314-241-9797. If you want to give us a call. Craig, thanks for calling the Annie Frey Show. What you want to know?
Hey, Annie, thanks for taking my call. I enjoy thought exercises, and when like tribal things, as you've well put it, happen like this, to me it's interesting to completely reverse the roles to keep everything the same. If Biden had lost this election and was not conceding and was trying lawsuit after lawsuit and failing in every single one and bringing up all these conspiracy theories that have no basis in fact or evidence, what do you think would be the reaction from Trump supporters?
Trump supporters is a group of people that I think you can parse a little bit. I'm a Trump supporter. I've been very consistent that I don't think that the overturning of the election results as we know them right now is going to happen. I've said that from the very beginning. I do believe there are people who take Trump's word as gospel. I don't, per se. My problem isn't so much with what Trump is saying. It's the fact that we can't, I don't feel like there's a place I can go to get straight information about the accusations that Trump is making versus, as I said, I listened to the entire Secretary of State call, the Georgia Secretary of State call. I think Trump laid out a bunch of things that seem to be very concerning. The Secretary of State said to them, and their lawyer said to them, you have wrong data. So you have two stories here. One of them is true and one of them is untrue.
There's one story that's based in evidence and one that's not.
Craig, hold on, let me answer your question because I'm long-windedly not doing so yet. I don't know which one of those is true. I would like to know which one of those is true, and if I can find out the truth, I would accept it. I don't need to pour myself into and surrender integrity for the sake of Trump and in lieu of supporting this country. I don't want to rip this country apart just because I love Trump. I think that when we consider what Trump supporters have endured for the last 4 years, people who voted for him, people who didn't vote for him in 2016, and he got significantly more votes this time around than he did the first time. So he persuaded people to support him in a greater context than the first time around. He certainly earned my vote the second time around. The first time it was just a vote against Hillary. And I've said that clearly many times. We have gone through a plethora of accusations towards Donald Trump that have had no merit and have had way less merit than the concerns, the inconsistencies that we've seen in this 2020 election. So I just want the truth. I'm not interested in an outcome at the sake of any path that we have to take, because the outcome that I think we need is more important than what really happened. So I think that the lack of truth or access to truth is my concern here. And I think that if it were flipped around, Hillary Clinton said during the campaign, told Biden not to concede no matter what. So I think we would have expected that.
Well, if you're confused about where to go to get accurate information, I strongly recommend that you start with the Associated Press and Reuters, that are very good journalists, that are of the highest integrity, that do care about the truth and parsing truth and putting out the truth.
I read everything. I read everything and so do all over the spectrum, because what I can do is I can look at something. I mean, honestly, I'll put it this way. I don't really read, for instance, Breitbart, and I don't read Slate, because it's not that I necessarily think that what they're talking about is instantly wrong. I just know that they're more interested in their opinion than they are in telling, because I think for myself. Craig, you think for yourself. So just give me the meat and let me make the meal the way I want it to be made. I'm not going to take it the way, like I said, Slate and Breitbart are going to put it out there, because I think for myself, I think that's important. I don't think that we have a go-to media source, mainstream media source right now that is only interested in truth. And AP and Reuters,
Associated Press and Reuters. Associated Press and Reuters. You can start there.
Well, I do. I don't need to start. I have been. Thanks for the call, Craig.
Well,
I do believe that those are as middle of the road as middle of the road gets. But I could probably put out their Wall Street Journal and people would not criticize, but maybe challenge me on that a little bit. I just think that there's a bent. There's a natural bent. I have a degree in communications. When I was told in my media critical theory class that the responsibility of the media was to lean opposite of the administration in charge. That's what my educators told me. And that was when George Bush was the president. And they were they told me that Noam Chomsky, which this is a really like in the weeds academic kind of name. I don't expect most people to know Noam Chomsky. I wouldn't know it if it weren't for the education that I got. But they were saying that he was somewhat mainstream. I mean, that dude is as fringe as it possibly could get. The way we've educated our youth, and it started potentially before I was in college in the early 2000s, and they've doubled and tripled down since then, is to formulate some sort of agenda in the way we cover media. And it's on both sides of the aisle right now because we're a capitalistic society and people see the need for it. So, I mean, the entertainment value and the acquiring of people who want to be in your camp is more important than truth. And honestly, someone said, I wish news paid as much as opinion does. Well, that's not going to happen. I mean, if it is going to happen, I'll sign up for that. We got Joe on the line here. Let's take Joe's phone call. Thanks for calling in the Annie Frey Show. You're on the air.
Hi, Annie. I was calling in. How you doing today?
Doing okay. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Last week, everybody kept talking about they thought that Trump should buy a news media so that, he helped drain the swamp by getting out the truth. I personally think that, and I was curious as your thought, of what if he bought Burisma, the voting company, and that way he can verify that the elections are, in the future going to be fair. And what do you think the left would do about that?
Not use the services. I think that it would probably go belly up pretty fast. I think when we consider, I've joked about this a bit. AT&T apparently owns CNN, and I've read on Twitter that AT&T would like to dump CNN. I think Trump and Rush Limbaugh should partner together and make the EIB the new CNN, which is stupid for me to say because Rush is on opposite the show, but I admire him. And I think that he's paved the way for me to be sitting here right now. I do know that if Trump doesn't succeed in these challenges that he has out in front of him, he's going to have a lot of opportunity, and he's going to be, the chains are going to be off. His restrictions are going to be off, which is kind of a crazy thing to think about. He's going to have a platform to reach people. And if he chooses to invest money in something like that, I mean, I guess there will be lots of investigations into it, but probably more than there have been in anything that's existed with Burisma to date. Joe, thank you for calling the show. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ron's still on the line, Katie? Real quick, Ron, I got about a minute left. Go ahead. Glad you called the show.
Okay. You were missed on your vacation. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You may not be America's sweetheart, but you are Southern Illinois sweetheart. Thank you so much for bringing Illinois issues out on the airways. Great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love the opportunity.
Great. One, I don't have high hopes for this Georgia election because now that the Democrats have shown that perfected how to conduct fraud, they're going to win every election. So I'm really worried about that. And I think it's going to be the end of the country as we know it if they win those 2 Senate seats in Georgia.
You started out with such a bright note, and then it took a really dark turn there. I'm concerned. I'm concerned with what happens here in the future, but I I think we can fight back. I think that the country has fought back from worse before, and I think that we're still strong enough to do that. I think that Ron, don't you think there are more people in your life who are paying attention now than have ever been paying attention before?
Actually, no. I find more people think they don't want to talk about politics, and I tell them, okay, don't talk, just listen. But they won't listen. They stick their fingers in the air and go in their ears and go la la la. They just don't want to talk about it.
Are they 12?
I have another question for you.
Real quick.
I have another question for you. When did the oath of office become a joke?
That's probably. I don't know that everybody considers it to be a joke. But I think that once you get onto Capitol Hill, I think that a lot of people's priorities change, and it's a sad story. I gotta run, Ron, but thank you for calling the show, and thank you for listening. I'm definitely glad to be back here. We're supposed to have a press conference with the Georgia Secretary of State right around the corner, supposed to start at 2. We're going to bring that to you when that happens and see what news is made. Otherwise, we'll keep having the conversation here. Stick around. More Annie Frey Show in a minute. Annie here for Stewart's American Mortgage. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going to be assessing a 0.5% fee on all conventional refis closing on or after December. You need to start the process with Stewart's American Mortgage right away. Stewie is closing loans in 2 to 3 weeks, but you don't have to wait. The Bagel Loan is back with a vengeance. Interest rates at historic lows, and a lot of people are taking cash out refinances while interest rates are so good. They can offer cash down with no contingency on new purchase. You can take advantage by calling today, 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. The Bagel Loan at Stewart's American Mortgage will literally save you thousands of dollars when you purchase a home. And if you owe more than $250,000 on your home and your interest rate is currently in the 4s, call Stewie today for the Bagel Loan. You're going to get a lower monthly payment or keep your payment and shave months or even years off the length of your loan. Google the Bagel Loan or call his personal cell, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440, NMLS number 226715.
They say that going to college is about knowledge, to get a job and a degree. But what if there was a place, an experience like no other, where after 4 years, you left with more than just knowledge? A place to find who you are, find purpose, and rise to challenge. See through a new lens and make the most of your place in the world. Would a place like that interest you? At Missouri Baptist University, students experience more than higher education. It's more than degrees and more than meaningful relationships. It's about transformation. The outlook you'll leave with will bring light to darkness and set the foundation to become the person you've always wanted, your best. Are you ready for something more? Find your light at Missouri Baptist University. Visit mobap.edu and shine on.
Find your light in 2021 through Missouri Baptist University online. More than 17 completely online undergraduate and graduate programs begin January 11th. Learn more at mobap.edu and shine on.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/private. That's right, free, zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/private. That's forhims.com/private for your free online visit. FORHIM.
KFDK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
A call for calm in the nation's capital. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Washington, D.C. mayor activating National Guard troops ahead of Wednesday's joint session of Congress to count the Electoral College votes and affirm a win for Joe Biden. Dozens of Republican lawmakers plan to challenge that. 2 House Democrats are asking the FBI to investigate President Trump's weekend phone call with Georgia's top election official.
House Democrats Ted Lieu and Kathleen Rice have sent a criminal referral to FBI Director Christopher Wray.
accusing President Trump of soliciting voter fraud in a phone call with Georgia's Secretary of State. So far, senior House Democrats have not said whether Congress would attempt to take any action against the president.
We're not looking backward. We're looking forward to the inauguration of Joe Biden on January 20th.
House Democratic Caucus Chair Hakeem Jeffries says actions by President Trump will be evaluated by historians. Right now, he says the focus remains on the coronavirus pandemic. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Both the president and president-elect rally in Georgia today ahead of tomorrow's Senate runoffs. As a suicide bombing remains under investigation in Nashville, a scare earlier today in New York City.
Police and explosive specialists were on the scene in Queens of a stolen Tesla in a parking deck with only a dog inside. John Miller, who leads the NYPD Intelligence and Counterterrorism Division, said what they also found in the car prompted an immediate evacuation of the area.
There were propane tanks and wires protruding from the vehicle.
Further investigation, according to Miller, determined that this was a hoax device.
Which means in their judgment, it was set up to appear to be a device.
The Tesla had Nevada plates, but police aren't clear where it was stolen from, nor have they released to whom the car is registered.
Fox's Gernal Scott. America is listening to Fox News.
Allstate now has deeper savings, and deeper savings require deep thoughts and a deep voice, like mine. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise, and save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. As someone once said, saving today is money tomorrow. That's deep.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
New year, new budgets. Every small business has unique needs. And when you partner with a Dell Technologies advisor, you get real-time tailored advice. They'll even give you a free consultation on your servers and storage devices to develop a custom solution to help improve your company's productivity. Plus, get special financing with Dell Business Credit and big savings on business computers with Intel Core processors. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Monday gloom of January continues. Fog, clouds, drizzle from time to time. 40 to 45 degrees. It's kind of damp and chilly out there. Tonight, clouds this evening, some clearing, but not until well after midnight. 25 for the overnight low. Tuesday, still looking pretty good. Probably the best day of the week. Plenty of sunshine. Warmest afternoon of the week. Temperatures near 50. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Since you've been spending more time at home, you may have been cleaning and reorganizing and decided it's time to part with some of the jewelry you never wear or cash in some of those collectibles gathering dust. Bring your gold, silver, and diamonds to the all-new Jewels on Hampton. They're paying some of the highest prices on precious metals, coins, and memorabilia. Exclusive designs from Alvanza's Jewel Art Designs, watches, and thousands of other treasures await you at Jewels on Hampton. Come by and see the new jewelry displays that will wow you, and the wide variety and, most importantly, the price. During these times of caution, Jewels on Hampton is taking all the precautions and measures to be CDC compliant for your safety. Jewels on Hampton. So whether you need to cash in some of that old jewelry you don't need or trying to find that perfect ring, necklace, or watch, you'll get the best prices on the all-new Jewels on Hampton, where they pay top dollar every day. 4506 Hampton in St. Louis Hills and jewelsonhampton.com.
Let's talk about buying cars and about new years and new beginnings. If you are in the market for a car right now, I want to encourage you to at least give cassinscan.com, their website, a look. I understand, they understand that a lot of car purchasing, the majority of car purchasing these days, it's done online. And that really takes out the essence of what makes Cassins so special. I am very confident that once you go to Cassins and you sit down with any of the wonderful people there, whether it's Tony or Holly or Cliff or any of the wonderful folks who work at Cassins, you are going to understand why people go back again and again to buy cars there, because they know they're going to get a wonderful price on a vehicle that they can rely on, that they can trust. It's fair. It's straightforward. It's not a bunch of gimmicky ickiness that makes you never want to have to buy a car again. It's Cassens. And I've relied on that for multiple purchases of vehicles for my family over the course of the years. And I know that you can too. Check them out online at cassenscan.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
You can ask your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk for information with perspective. Although you don't have to say all the tagline stuff. Just say, play 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Dell Technologies. Call 877-ASK-DELL. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy New Year. It's 2021, and we made it through 2020. I don't know. How many of you feel as though the cares and concerns and the worries of 2020 are behind us? Okay, sure. Sure.
Why not?
Okay. If it makes you sleep better. All right. I was listening to Jim Jordan this weekend on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo, I think. And he was really setting the table for what's going to happen with this election challenge going forward, why he feels as though this is important, and really laying it out. And I want to go through this whole clip because I know that for me, being on a holiday vacation, and by that I mean I wore sweatpants. I think I told Katie that the amount of makeup I'm wearing right now is more than the sum total of what I wore in the entire last 10 days, which is to say more about how much I didn't wear than how much I'm wearing right now. And, you know, you've been disconnected. What is going on right now? Well, Jim Jordan lays it out here, and I think he does a pretty good job at it. I want to give you the opportunity to listen here.
For holding elections is determined in each state by the legislature thereof. Take Pennsylvania, for example. Pennsylvania state law says election day ends at 8 o'clock on election day. The Supreme Court in Pennsylvania says, nope, we're going to extend it 3 days till 5 o'clock on Friday. State law in Pennsylvania says for every absentee mail-in ballot, there has to be a signature verification. The Secretary of State in Pennsylvania says, nope, we're not going to do that. We're not going to have a signature. She just unilaterally went around the law for 2.6 million mail-in ballots. The state law in Pennsylvania is clear. It says that mail-in ballots cannot be processed until election day, but some counties in Pennsylvania allow ballots to be fixed, cured before election day. Now, Maria, take a guess which counties allowed that. Democrat counties with Democrat county commissioners and clerks allowed that to happen. Republican counties did it. The Republican counties in Pennsylvania followed the law. So when the time, place, and manner is not adhered to and not that the legislature set, that is a direct violation of the Constitution, and that disenfranchises the votes in the district I get the privilege of representing in the 4th District of Ohio. That disenfranchises the votes that Mo gets through, the people Mo represents in Alabama, and countless number of people around the country. And understand this finally. It wasn't us who said it. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice, said this: the ultimate date of significance is January 6th. This is how the process works. The ultimate arbiter here, the ultimate check and balance, is the United States Congress. And when something is done in an unconstitutional fashion, which happened in several of these states, we have a duty to step forward and have this debate and have this vote on the 6th of January.
Congressman Jim Jordan there laying out what the concern has been and where the concerns are, which all goes into, as we point to Georgia and these two Senate runoff elections that will determine the balance of power in Washington, D.C. They are having right now a press conference. Georgia officials are giving an update ahead of these runoffs, and Gabriel Sterling, who is the Georgia Voting System Implementation Manager, is speaking from Atlanta. Katie, let's listen in and see what this press conference is about.
And we've seen a few shortages of poll workers. So I think specifically we saw in Morgan County, they're going to lose 2 locations because of that. Now, what we've seen also is a difference in the turnout models depending on congressional district and county in the state so far, in large part driven by the continuing misinformation and disinformation concerning the value of people's votes in this state. The secretary wants me to make clear that everybody's vote is going to count. Everybody's vote did count. I want to make that abundantly clear. If you care about, the values and directions of the nation you want to see, it is your obligation to turn out and vote tomorrow, be you Democrat or Republican. However, right now, given the nature of the president's statements and several other people who have been aligned with him previously, who've literally had a rally saying protest and don't vote, we are specifically asking you and telling you, please turn out and vote tomorrow. One of the things specifically I've had to argue with people whom I've known for 20 years, they say, well, we feel like our election was stolen. We feel like our votes don't count. And I said, okay, I'm not acknowledging that the election was stolen because it wasn't. I'm not acknowledging that there was massive voter fraud because there wasn't. But I said, but if you believe in your heart of hearts that there was, the best thing for you to do is to turn out and vote and make it harder for them to steal. If that's what you genuinely in your heart of hearts believe, turn out and vote. There are people who fought and died and marched and prayed and voted to get the right to vote. Throwing it away because you have some feeling that it may not matter is self-destructive, ultimately, and a self-fulfilling prophecy in the end. So everybody who cares about the future of this nation should turn out and vote. It's vitally important. It's absolutely important. And the reason I'm having to stand here today is because there are people in positions of authority and respect who have said their votes didn't count, and it's not true. And I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to go through all this anti-disinformation Monday. It's whack-a-mole again. It is Groundhog Day again. I'm going to get to talk about things that I've talked about repeatedly for 2 months. But I'm going to do it again one last time, I'm hoping. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure people understand their votes count. Every person, every voice matters. And I know that there's people who fought for that for years about this. So let's start again. And yes, some of this is going to come out of the continuing statements from the president and some of his supporters. State Farm. All right, this has been one that's been conflated over several different things. We have multiple scanned ballots. We have Ruby Freeman. We have the leak that it says Waterman break, which wasn't a Waterman break. So in order to be fully transparent, one of the things we did is we had a local media organization, WSB, Justin over here. We went through it for hours and hours, walked through frame by frame and showed what happened. So let's start. If you go to securevotega.com, we have posted all the videos from State Farm for that day that cover the relevant periods. 5:23 a.m., they walk in and they discover what is essentially a pond on the floor where you can see water coming out of the sky. So they say, okay, we can't do our work here this morning. They call in the State Farm people. It's not Fulton County people, which is one of the other things they said. There's no Fulton County work order to fix the water leak. And guess what? It wasn't in a Fulton County facility. It was in State Farm. So they were the ones who fixed the leak. And it was a urinal that was overflowed because we were turned off because guess what? Nobody's in State Farm because of COVID, other than this particular usage. So they turned off all those things and it went over the edge of the relief valve, and that's what caused the leak. So they come in. Then you go to another one about 7 in the morning or so, where you have essentially the, I don't know what to call it, the drying Zamboni that's driving around on the carpet, cleaning it all up. Then at about 8:23, you see a woman bring in the table in question that has been the point of Mr. Giuliani's 90-second clip. She's pulling it with one hand, and she sets it down. There's nothing underneath it, okay? Then you can fast forward to later in the day, about 9:45 or so. Everybody there are two groups of people there. There's cutters and there are scanners. What happened was the cutters began putting their stuff away because everybody's under the impression they were going to get home. We have discovered this. So they start putting covers over the cutting machines and everything. So then we see also, while the monitors and the press are still in the room, they bring out the carriers, which are normal absentee ballot carriers. And I will admit, when I listened to the audio of the phone call and the president brought that up again, and I heard it on a radio ad again today, I wanted to scream. Well, I did scream at the computer, and I screamed in my car at the radio talking about this because this has been thoroughly debunked. They bring out the normal absentee ballot carriers. There are monitors in the room. There is press in the room. They take the ballots that have been opened, put them in carrier trays, and put them in there, and then put them in the boxes, put the lid on because the lid matches the box, and then you see at one point during the video, a woman crawling on the floor, putting the numbered seals on them so they can keep the chain of custody. Approximately 10:25, 10:30, the secretary in our office receives word that Fulton County is shutting down for the night at State Farm Arena. So as some of y'all who were there on election night recall, the secretary got a little irritated with this and made his feelings quite known. They said, some of us will be working through the night. We're glad to see that Fulton County sees the need to just go ahead and knock off for the evening. So Chris Harvey, our elections director, then calls Rick Barron, the elections director of Fulton County, who was at the other location, which was their English Street warehouse, because he was doing election day activities. Chris calls Rick. Rick says, we're not shutting down. Well, Chris says, looks like you are. So then you can go back to the videotape and see Ralph Jones take a phone call of approximately almost 11 o'clock. And you can see his shoulders kind of shrug. He takes the phone call. He's being told at that point by his boss, Rick Barron, you need to stay and continue to scan. So he hangs up the phone. He goes over to some boxes, puts some more seals on them, because obviously, if you watch the videotape, many of the people that are there have been there since 7 in the morning. It's already 11 o'clock at night. They were all under the impression they were going to get to go home. So you see him spend about 30 seconds going, heck, what am I going to say to these people? So then he walks back over to the corner of a desk and says, I got the word, we got to keep on scanning. So they go back to the boxes that you see them put under the table at the approximately 10 o'clock hour. There is videotape of this. And this is what's really frustrating. The president's legal team had the entire tape. They watched the entire tape and then, from our point of view, intentionally misled the state Senate, voters, and the people of the United States about this. It was intentional, it was obvious, and anybody watching this knows that. Anyone watching it knows that. That's why we released the entire tape for people to watch. So there's this claim that that was done. So they pull those out and begin to scan. Then the other claim comes from about a woman named Ruby Freeman and multiple scanning. One of the things you need to understand is a normal ballot processing, if there is a problem with a ballot, what it does is it stops. But before that, 4 or 5 will get through. So they say, delete that last batch and rescan it so they scan properly. That is the normal process that is done. Secondarily to that, everybody might be familiar with the fact that the president wanted us to do a hand recount, hand retally, which we ended up doing under our audit. That audit showed that there was no problem with machine scanning. If somebody took a stack of ballots and scanned them multiple times, you would have a lot of votes with no corresponding ballots. So let's go over the numbers one more time. Statewide, it was for the sheer number of ballots, they were off by 0.1053%. For the margin, they were off by 0.0099%, which shows that the machine scanned properly. Our counties did a great job of following these batches and doing the hand count properly, appropriately, with scrutiny and with observers. So let's put that to bed right now. And one of the other things we did as part of our transparency is we have put all of those tally sheets online for every county so you can go through and look at them all. And it's at, again, the securevotega.com. Let's see. Let's go over the numbers of the president's team is claiming, which have a little chart over here. They're claiming there were 2,056 felons that voted. Our research, and we have better data because we are directly tied to the state government on this, Department of Corrections, and the other department, which I can't remember what it's called right now, basically it tracks when people are on probation. There we go. We know exactly how many people voted for this. We have an outward bound of 74 potential people who are felons voted. What that means is that's the biggest number it could be. We will investigate and find out some of these people completed their sentences. Some of these people have the same name and birth date, so there'll be some crossover there. So 74 is the outward bound. It's going to be lower than that. So let's be clear about that. Then there is a claim that 66,248 people below the age of 18 voted. The actual number is 0. Let me be clear, 66,000 versus 0. And the reason we know that is because the dates are on the voter registration. There are 4 cases, 4 where people requested their absentee ballot before they turned 18, but they turned 18 by the election day. That means that is a legally cast ballot. So again, 66,000, which is the biggest single number they have on these kind of votes, versus 0. They say that there's 2,423 people who voted without being registered. Let's just be clear about this. You can't do it. There cannot be a ballot issued to you. There's no way to tie it back to you. There's no way for them to have a name to correspond back to unless they are registered voters. So that number is 0. Then we've got 1,043 illegally voted using a P.O. box. Again, we're going through the investigation on this. So far, everyone we've seen has been when there is a mailboxes, et cetera, something like that, in a multi-family building, like an apartment. So they will have what looks like P.O. boxes listed in the system, but they're actually the residential address of record for people who live in multifamily housing, like apartments. So that's everything we've seen so far. We haven't seen anybody actually registering to vote at a USPS P.O. box. Next one is 4,926 voted past the legal registration deadline. Again, it's 0. We have 0 record of anybody doing that because the voter registration cutoff is a voter registration cutoff. So there's no corresponding way to do that. They couldn't be issued a ballot because they are not legally within the system of that to have ballots issued. 10,315 who died before the election. Again, our information from the Department of Vital Records, we go through county by county, shows potentially 2. So far, 2. It could change, it could go, but it's not 10,000. 395 cast ballots in 2 states. We're investigating that, but again, and we got double voters, which we're investigating. But again, we're talking handfuls, not tens of thousands. Let's remember, and I think we're all very clear on the number now, that it was 11,779. We've seen nothing in our investigations of any of these data claims that shows there's nearly enough ballots to change the outcome. And the secretary and I at this podium have said since November 3rd, there is illegal voting in every single election in the history of mankind because there are human beings involved in the process. It's going to happen. It's a question of limiting it and putting as many safeguards as you can in place to make sure it doesn't happen. All right. Oh yeah. We had part of the hand tally be discussed in relation to the potential double scanning. Let's just go to the other ridiculous claims that Dominion voting machines are somehow using fractional voting or flipping votes. Again, by doing the hand tally, it shows none of that is true. Not a whit. And let's go back to the overall claims about Dominion voting systems in general. If you look in Wisconsin, they're claiming Wisconsin was stolen through Dominion voting machines. In the 14 counties in which Dominion voting machines were used in Wisconsin, the president got 59% of the vote. And in the counties in Pennsylvania where Dominion voting machines were used, he got 52.5% of the vote. He made a claim at one point that over 900,000 votes were deleted by Dominion machines. And the 14 counties where that happened, they had 1.3 million people vote. That was 70% plus, a 76% turnout. In order for 900,000 to have been deleted, they would have had to have 160% or 130% turnout. That did not happen because it cannot happen. Again, this is all easily, provably false. Yet the president persists. And by doing so, undermines Georgians' faith in the election system, especially Republican Georgians in this case, which is important because we have a big election coming up tomorrow, and everybody deserves to have their vote counted if they want it to be, Republican and Democrat alike. Now, let's move on to signature matching. There were claims about signature matching not being done. They were based on feelings. We believe. No specific evidence was ever brought up until in one of the Trump filings, there was a specific allegation the signature verification was not being done on the absentee ballot request form properly in Cobb County during the June primary. So that's the first time we had a specific actionable claim of signature match not being done. So with that in mind, the governor graciously offered to act with the secretary, and he discussed potentially using GBI resources. So we got GBI to come alongside Secretary of State investigators, multiple teams. Vic Reynolds stood here last week to announce the outcome of that. And of the 15,118 absentee ballot envelopes that they investigated, they found 2 with potential problems. 2. 99.99% was properly done. And of those 2, the actual voter who was intended to be marked as voting was the actual voter. They could have been done through a cure period, which would have been a better way to do that. Another thing they want to talk about is the vast difference in rejection rates. Well, what we've seen is there was not a vast difference in rejection rates. What's happening is, in order to confuse people because they don't understand election systems, is they're conflating the entirety of absentee ballots that were rejected versus those that were rejected for signature mismatch or missing a signature. Now, we're also comparing apples to oranges. In 16, I've done this so long, I don't want to script these numbers, but I'm going to give the general, don't hold me this exact number. I think it was 0.26%. In 18, it was 0.16%. And in 2020, so far, it's 0.15%. We've gotten some updated numbers on this now. And the difference is, in 2019, HB 316 was passed, which allowed there to be curing of ballots. So there are teams of Republicans and Democrat, young people running around the state as we speak, finding people who have signature issues to cure their ballots. That's going on right now. And the Democrats did a much better job of that during the general election. The Republicans were not prepared. The Democrats had their own forms set up. They had teams set up. They were ready to go. It was sort of a late entry on the Republican side to do some of those. And about 5,000 total ballots were rejected for some purpose, and about 2,600 of those were cured. So that means the final rejection number was around 2,400 ballots, around the total of 5 million, or a percentage of the 1.3 million that we saw that were voted absentee. Let's go into some of the more new things. There is no shredding of ballots going on. That's not real. It's not happening. There's shredding of envelopes that were the non-used ones, or there's also shredding of the secrecy envelopes that came through. We saw some of those in the Senate hearing, and it's obvious that they are the secrecy envelopes, which have no evidentiary value because there's no signature on it. There's no way to match it back. They're just basically trash. The law requires you keep the signature and oath envelopes and the ballots themselves for 22 months. Those are all being kept. Let's see. This is what I don't fully understand. No one is changing parts or pieces out of Dominion voting machines. That's not a real, I don't even know what that means. It's not a real thing. That's not happening. The president mentioned on the call yesterday or from 2 days ago. That's, again, not real. I don't even know how exactly to explain that. Let's see. Secretary Raffensperger does not have a brother named Ron Raffensperger. That is also not real. The president tweeted that out as well. Let's see. Got such a long list. Oh, yes. The other really fantastical thing we saw the other day was a potential hacking of Dominion equipment during a Senate hearing last week. That did not happen either. Let's go over a couple of reasons why. First of all, ballot marking devices and scanners, neither one have modems. It's very hard to hack things without modems. There's nothing to talk to. So let's get that clear. The poll pads, which is a no-ink device, does have the ability to connect to Wi-Fi, which we use it for loading purposes and in case there's an issue on election day, but they are not hooked up live all the time. And if they saw anything, they could see traffic back and forth, but it would basically be like watching a river go by. You couldn't get in. It's essentially, if they did this, which we have no proof of. We have claim after claim after claim with zero proof. Zero. And signed affidavits are part of an evidentiary trail, but they have to be investigated. And let's remember, everybody who came and gave testimony, it was public comment, at the state Senate hearing. This office was never asked to come and discuss those items with that state Senate subcommittee. That didn't happen either, which I find interesting because obviously they're making wild claims that, again, undermine people's faith in the system. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is another one that came over the weekend from the founder of Overstock.com, that they had found thousands and thousands of fake ballots in Fulton County warehouse. For any of you all in the press who have been to the Fulton County warehouse, these are the emergency ballots that have been sitting in that warehouse since before the November election, very much in plain view of everybody to see. And what happened, the reason they had a high number, first of all, every county has to have those emergency ballots by rule. The state election board rule says you have to have 10% of the available ones for each polling location, and they have to be printed for that polling location for the ballot style so they can track it properly. In Fulton County's case, y'all may remember that there was a COVID outbreak in their warehouse not long before the logic and accuracy testing period was happening for the general election. In a very wild abundance of caution, they had what they referred to as not plan A, not plan B, but they referred to it as plan C, which was if we can't get people in to do the logic and accuracy testing on all of our equipment, we're going to print up 100% of our ballots we need to let hand marker ballots be what we have to do if we cannot get the machines done. They did that out of an abundance of caution, given the unknowable unknowns surrounding COVID and their ability to get employees in to do that. They were thankfully able to get the employees in. Dominion staff came in to help them make sure they got the logic and accuracy test done, so they were able to deploy all of their BMDs and their BMD carriers and scanners, so they didn't have to use those ballots, but that's why those ballots existed. They are not fake ballots. They are real ballots. They are unused ballots. And what I find really interesting about this is they were in shrink-wrapped items in boxes that are sealed. What can you do with those? They're sitting right there. Everybody saw them. Let's see. Trying to think what other, here's part of the problem, y'all. I sit down and try to write down everything that we see that comes over the internet as a potential thing of disinformation. It gets exploded. We all look at these things. We know there's lots of bots that are doing it. We have foreign powers that are pushing some of these things at the same time. So here's the takeaway from all this. This office has been open and transparent. We are continuing investigations. There are questions about pristine ballots. That's one last thing, the pristine ballot thing. There are 3 reasons you can have the quote unquote pristine ballot, which is essentially the absentee/emergency/provisional ballot. There's first one. Military and overseas voters oftentimes will get what they call an electronic ballot. What happens is once we get the ballot built, starting the 49th to the 45th day, we will send emails out to those people who want to have electronic ballot delivery, which is many of our military servicemen and women. So they take that, they print it, and they bubble in their choices. Now, obviously, that's not an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper or 11 by 14 where they can print it on. So it's not sized properly to go through a scanner. So when that comes back to the county, they will duplicate that on a flat, unfolded piece of paper on the absentee ballot/emergency ballot. That's a normal process for many of the military and overseas voters that are electronically delivered. The other situation.
So this is Gabe.
So we have that was not Raffensperger. That was one of his people. And I mean, if you look at one after the other, I had written these down because we played 8 minutes of the Trump call in the second segment, they're like 12:25 or so. And I wrote them down. 250,000 votes in a Fulton County ballot drop. 50,000 plus voters told ballots had already been cast. Over 4,500 voted, but not on the registration list. 18,000 voted with no address. Almost 5,000 voters from out of state. When you hear the clip that has been circulating the internet, where Trump is saying to the Secretary of State, "I just need you to find me 11,780 votes." That was in a 60-minute conversation with the Secretary of State down the line after the president, in a very lengthy way, lists off, we got 100,000 plus votes here that we're questioning, 20,000 plus votes here. Now you listen to this particular individual, and he's knocking one of those off one after the other about it being completely untrue. Who do you believe? I will go to Joshua in our YouTube chat, who happens to be a lawyer, commenting, and he said, okay, you have 2 different sets of facts. You can't look at this individual, Gabriel, I forget his last name, Space, something like that. And you can't look at him and can consider him to not be an interested party. So you have 2 sets of facts from interested parties. If there was only somebody who was neutral, who could take those and, basically a judge, and say, this is true, this is not, you presented your case, this is what I've ruled, be done. That's what I would like. The truth. We're going to take a quick break. We went way long there. Get some bills paid with this little break that we have coming up. Please join us on the Facebook chat, facebook.com/Andy Frey Show. We got a live broadcast going there. You can watch the show and comment along. A lot of lively conversation taking place on both the Facebook Live and the Andy Frey YouTube channel. You can watch us live there, whichever is your preference. And I don't know, rabble rouse with some of these rabble rousers. Man, you guys came into 2021 swinging. And I'm like, let's just be happy. Like, this is a time to love your neighbor and kumbaya and eat granola and stuff. I don't know. You can do that here on the Facebook chat and the YouTube chat. We'll be back in just a minute with some reaction to what we've just heard here. Don't go away.
Feel like you do tonight. Make a move in your mind, but don't rush it. Boy, you're about to see the light. So hang on.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Your energy needs are changing. That's why Ameren Missouri isn't waiting on the future. They're building it with a smart energy plan advancing thousands of projects across the state. That's energy at work. Learn more at amerenmissouri.com/plan.
Take a moment and rate your lifestyle on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is a life that's nothing like the life you were promised after getting good grades, a college degree, and a good job in corporate America. 10 is the life of your dreams. If you answered anything less than a 10, tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del's self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Tune in to the Del Walmsley Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Another reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is a cash out refinance? It's doing a cannonball from your porch.
Watch out!
That new car smell. A new college graduate in the family.
With a BA in business and a minor in medieval Renaissance poetry.
Reading the words, paid in full.
Woohoo! Did it!
At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it for our customers. Right now, rates are at a low 2.5%. Call 314-567-GOLD or visit us online at goldenoaklending.com and talk with an experienced local loan officer who will guide you every step of the way. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit. 111 West Court Plaza, St. Louis, Missouri.
Coping-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
If you're feeling increasingly lonely right now, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Even though we may not be able to get together in person, connecting virtually with friends and family still gives you a chance to interact with people and may help raise your spirits. Join a virtual book club, set up group text chats, or online video coffee breaks with coworkers.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. This is really, really nice. 2021 has arrived, thank God. Zero Res wants to thank all of their past and new customers by offering 21% off of all services for the month of January. That's pretty cool. Nothing is more important than being clean right now. Just check out Zero Res's review on Google and you'll see why they are the only choice when it comes to carpet cleaning and cleaning out your air ducts. The Zero Res difference is clear from the moment you walk in the door after they have done that job. So call Zero Res today at 314-474-2020, or you can book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Let them know you heard about them on the Glover Show, and everything we do is 21% off all January. Time to get your carpets clean, time to get those air ducts cleaned out. 10% discount for military, active, and veterans. 314-474-2020 for the DGS deal, 21% off during January. So an insurance agent, any insurance agent, only matters twice. The first time when you engage their services and they are able to get you a better deal, which should be two things. It should be better coverage for less money. Okay. They matter then. The second time is when you reach out to them and say, hey, I wrecked my car. The storm hit the house last night and ripped off a bunch of my shingles. Someone, God forbid, passes away and you have a life insurance policy. That's the other time that an insurance agent matters. The rest of the time, who cares? They're out there living their life. You're living yours. Maybe you see them at Target and you give the awkward hello, whatever. James Carlton at State Farm is going to deliver both times. If he cannot get you better coverage for less money, he'll tell you straight up, but he will. And then when you have a claim, he goes to work for you. Call him at 314-961-4800 or carltoninsurance.net.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Furnace tune-ups are recommended each year to keep your heating system running efficiently and extend its life. Schedule your furnace tune-up and safety inspection and get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the Bagel Loan, Stewart'sAMC.com. That's STUART, Stewart'sAMC.com. Don't put off your refi. Don't procrastinate. Start your year with a bagel loan. Save your hard-earned money. It's pretty much that simple. Make your New Year's resolution that interest rates being at historic lows, take that cash out refinance while interest rates are so good that they can offer cash down, no contingency on a new purchase. It's insane. Reach out to Stewie to find out how he can help you. And when you use a bagel loan, remember, he doesn't charge you all those fees that every single other lender is going to charge you for. Why is Stewie so special? It's how he built his business. It's how he set up his business so he can offer something that none of his competitors can. And he's very, very good at it. Take advantage and call Stewie today. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Stewart's proud to operate the most customer-centric mortgage company in St. Louis and Illinois, Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Join Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar and lose the weight, stop smoking, or end anxiety for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. Because of coronavirus, seminar now online, live Saturday, January 16th for the St. Louis area. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Struggling with CPAP? Now there's Inspire, the only FDA-approved obstructive sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body to treat the root cause of sleep apnea with just the click of a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Visit inspiresleep.com to learn more.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Congressman Jody Heiss. The Democrats are tyrants. You disagree with them, they want to shut you down. They want to silence you. They want to destroy you. We cannot let them get in control. They will destroy our country and destroy our individual liberties.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
Don't know when we're going home, but your friend could come along. Thinking why not? Baby, why not? I'm looking good, don't wanna blink. Mirror tells me I'm a king. I'm thinking why not? Baby, why not? Oh, take a sip now. Take it down now. Say I. Oh, do you dance now? Sing it loud with me right now. Say I. 'Cause I believe we can fly now.
Welcome back to the first edition in 2021 of the Annie Frey Show. Happy to be back here with you. This is a very intense way to get back in the saddle again.
Yes.
And we're doing our best. Katie for this show was calling like everybody we knew, and everyone's like, we're slammed.
We're booked.
People are busy because there's stuff going on. We're going to know a lot more about our country in a couple of days. We're going to know a lot more about our country in a couple of weeks. And I stand by my statement. Our country is strong and you should fear not. And I hope that that is a positive message to you. And I hope that doesn't sound naive. If it does sound naive, I actually believe it. So maybe I'm just naive. Never really been accused of that before. I want to talk a little bit because we've been all business all day today. We haven't had a down minute in this show. We've talked a ton about the President Trump side of the Georgia Secretary of State phone call. We just aired for you Georgia Secretary of State's, I don't know, I called him the henchman on the off the air. I don't know what his official position was, Gabriel Sterling. If you didn't know, that was not the Secretary of State that you just heard. It was a representative of the Georgia Secretary of State. So wanted to make sure that we gave you a balanced look at both sides of that conversation, and time will tell. And we're not that far away from having some punctuation on the end of a really, really long run-on sentence that has been the 2020 election. All right, I wanted to ask you both, and I'll tell you mine as well. It's a new year, New Year's resolutions. I don't really love New Year's resolutions. I kind of think that they're bogus. Like, I look back at all the things I promised myself that I was going to do on my Christmas break. Yeah, I don't know about that. Didn't really nail down a whole lot of those. The only thing that I did tell myself that I absolutely wanted to do and actually pulled off was rebuilding and redoing the studio that I'm working in, because I got a standing desk. And it was something that want to first of all say I'm super grateful to all of our YouTube family because I was able to upgrade my desk from a 6-foot a 6-foot folding table, which I borrowed from my parents. I'm like, do you think it'd be okay in March if I use this in the basement? We're just gonna be broadcasting downstairs. I just need to put my stuff. My parents, I think in the summer, went and bought a new table because they couldn't find theirs.
Oh
in
my
basement.
gosh.
And I have continued to use it. I told my mom, she was telling me the story about going to buy that table. I'm like, oh, I have that in my basement. She's like, oh,
that's where
well,
that went.
Well, I guess it's yours. So I officially replaced it with a standing desk that I believe, as you have probably heard or learned by now, I am expecting. I'm 16 and a half weeks pregnant, expecting a baby girl in June. And I need to figure out ways to incorporate a healthy lifestyle with that, which is very difficult because I am still extremely nauseous, at least in the morning and the evenings. I feel better now than I have felt so far during this pregnancy, but this is how my pregnancies have gone. So this is not a surprise for me. It's not pleasant. I probably would have had this fourth baby a long time ago if I would have had the guts to do it. But we decided it was time and wanted to add a fourth child to our family. We're very excited about that. But my New Year's resolution to myself was to do some sort of activity for 30 minutes a day. And it's difficult. I have been so sedentary because I have felt so sick so much of the time. Everything I eat, I have to think about the repercussions of what it feels like coming back up. And that's been a really kind of cruddy way to exist. Only 164 days. I have to check my countdown today on my phone.
Where's the countdown?
Yeah, if I say 164 and it's 160, yeah, it's 164.
Nice.
I didn't lose any days. And then I probably will go a week early, so who knows. But it's not about obviously losing weight or anything like that. The more healthy I treat myself now, the easier it'll be after the baby gets here. I am like Slim 180 is on the speed dial for when they say it's time to go. I am there because that is the only thing that helped me lose the baby weight from the other kids. And so I'm confident in my ability to do that, but I just need to be more active. Like I think if I would wear my watch, I quit wearing my watch because it was counting steps and it was just a constant reminder that you're sitting on your duff. Like that would be a great time to stand up and move.
Shut up, watch.
It's like, you're not telling me to like take a hike. You're telling me to move, like to physically alter my position in the ethos. Like give me a break. So I've been like 30 minutes on the treadmill or beach body prenatal workouts.
Very nice.
And I have rediscovered muscles that I forgot that I had. So I am not standing at my desk today. I am sitting, but that will be incorporated into my lifestyle. What about you, Ryan? Do you do New Year's resolutions or like maybe loose or very strict? How do you treat it?
Normally I don't, but I do have one this year, but I got to preface it with last year's because I finished my last year's New Year's resolution in the last week or last 2 weeks of the year.
To say you did.
I did it. Yeah. It was to finish my novel that I've been working on for 12 years.
That's great. Great.
Yeah.
Would you have been able to finish that novel without 2020 being 2020?
No, I don't think I would have because more time at home, less, taking kids to soccer practices and stuff gave me a little more time. So I did finish. I finished it over the summer, but then I had to go through the whole edit to finish like the final edit by, the end of December. And so I did. And so my New Year's resolution for the coming year, which will be much easier than the last one, is to actually publish it, which I'm hoping to do we're shooting for Valentine's Day. So
well, I hope that you have less time on your hands because we have more freedom in 2021. I hope that challenge, if it's a smaller challenge for you, but with less time, maybe that will work out. Katie, what do you think?
Well, last year was the year that we needed to keep our mental health in check. And so going off of that, this year I'm going buck wild and I'm being crazy and I don't care. I actually got a journal. I got a journal for Christmas from my sister-in-law, and it's a very simple journal. It's not like where you have to write everything down. It's basically done for you. It's just checking a bunch of boxes and writing a couple sentences. So I figured I've already I've already completed 2 pages of the journal. And I'm going to try to continue to do that every single night before I go to bed so that I can get my thoughts in check, have a little bit of tranquility, some harmony before I go to bed. Hopefully that lasts. Knowing me, that gets a little tough because I usually go to my phone and I want to look at Twitter and I want to look at Facebook.
Which is the opposite of journalism.
Totally.
Zen.
Totally. It is like ramping me up and then I can't go to bed, which is very similar to you, Annie. But I really want to try to step away from being absorbed with that social media aspect and dedicating some time.
You need to be able to have access to social media and what social media has to offer with the understanding that it lives in a compartment in your life.
Yes.
And you have to be able to put the lid on that and take the lid off anytime you choose to, but you need to control it. It cannot control you. And that is a very difficult thing. I have to ask you, Katie. I gave Katie a Polaroid camera for Christmas.
Yes.
Have you used it?
So many times. I actually brought it to my parents' house because I did spend Christmas over there with, a limited number of family members.
Did you win dominoes?
We didn't play.
Oh.
So, but it's okay. It was fine.
Just said yes.
Oh,
And then
wait.
made your whole family feel.
I lied because I forgot that we did play towards the end of the night.
But you lost with your medium drunk.
And my dad, I was medium drunk. I was wasted. My dad listens to the show every single day, so he will catch me and he will be texting
Hi,
me
Mr.
soon.
Bailey.
We did. My dad and I were partners. We did win once. And then
Okay.
my brother and then David were partners and they won once too. So we still don't have a tiebreaker. But I did use that Polaroid
Fight to the
camera.
death.
I went through it that whole entire day. It was done by the end of that day. I was able to give out all of the film and everything to my friends, family members. They loved it. They were like, this is the coolest little gift. And I'm like, well, it was a gift from Annie. So I got a gift and then I was able to give a gift.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was great.
Sounds very pleasant. I there's something so strange because my daughter has this Polaroid camera.
Love it.
And she doesn't have a means to physically go purchase more film on her own. I would buy her more. Don't tell her I said that. But she's very reserved about, she doesn't want to waste a picture. It's funny to give a kid a camera that when you click the button, that's your picture.
Yes.
You're not going to take 10 takes of this and get it right. At first she was like shocked by that. I'm like, you should see my photo albums from high school. All of them are under or overexposed. Half the people aren't looking at the camera. Eyes are closed. And you just put those photos in the photo album, and now you look through for instance, the only pictures that I even print anymore. And there's something so cool about having a printed photograph, but the only pictures that I will print is if we go on a family Disney vacation, I'll buy the year it says 2019 on it and I'll print off all my good photos. It's like one photo after the other of photos that come in the picture frame. But if you see like my camera roll on my Google Photos, I have like 10 pictures of each photo that I actually chose one of to put in this. It's just an entirely different existence. And to have that click and then the film comes out the top and then you're like looking at it, you're like, there's nothing there. I don't think it worked. And then you shake it.
So satisfying.
It's
the whole
something
thing.
Weirdly like ASMR satisfying about the whole process.
It is.
My daughter got a Polaroid camera for Christmas too, and she's 6 years old. So this is the trend.
I'm so glad that I am like, that's the grade and that's the braid. I'm like,
when I told my husband I was getting you that, he goes, that is the perfect gift for Katie. I'm like, why? Because she goes out, has friends and has fun. He's like, yeah, pretty much.
So my question for you guys, since you have these cameras already, is the film smaller than it used to be on the old Polaroids?
Yeah, they're like maybe 2 inches wide as opposed to 3.
I thought they used to be bigger, and when she was taking these, I thought, is that a kid's camera or is that like the new norm?
I think that's at least everything that I've seen is the smaller thing. Get it. Make sure that if you haven't done it yet, get the photo album that they can stick the pictures in right away so that there is a place to put these photographs to preserve them. Like I said, one of the most touching things was my daughter coming to me after my grandma passed away, because I was saying I was upset, and I said, I don't even have any pictures of me with grandma because I'm the one who takes all the pictures. She said, Mom, I have one for you. And it was this Polaroid picture of my grandma and me. It was a beautiful picture. It was last year at Christmas, and it was before all hell broke loose. And I was grateful for it. Happy New Year. We're back. The DGS, I believe, is back. We'll be back tomorrow. Stick around. Don't go away.
Since 1929, Shane Company's been part of over 1 million perfect proposals. An engagement